Hello, hello. I am Katie, and I am with Dew. Uh,
Hello.
yeah. And I am
Uh,
playing Lore, my wonderful, beautiful, wholesome idiot. And Dew is.
I'm playing Big Green Plump Baby Horse Soul. If you don't know them by now, what are you doing? I mean, to be honest, if you're gonna listen to this, it's pretty much as an intro you need. They are just a good bean. Um, tends to tends to cause some chaos sometimes, but they're just wholesome little bean. They're just a good little bean who tries their best. Um,
This,
yeah,
yeah. This
I'm
is my
playing the
first
wonderful
time.
Katie.
This is my first time meeting them, and I'm very, very excited.
Gosh. I mean, you say that it's gonna be
uh,
it's gonna be interesting.
I think you underestimate how hard it is to disappoint me.
All right. Well, I hope you enjoy this then, because hey, so I don't know if you remember how we established Law getting to Toontown, because Law was in the wonderful city of Villestown. Um, so if I take a
Yeah.
few liberties here,
Oh no, I got this. Okay,
oh, you
really
got it.
quick. Lore definitely left the little lad detective Camille's apartment again to either get food, look for him, or just for some reason. And my boy is cursed to be lost, and so curse magic somehow ends up back in Toontown.
That's amazing. I just imagine he takes a wrong turn into a transportation circle that's been accidentally set up in the middle of nowhere, just whooms through, and then he's just like in a park in Toontown.
Yeah, the
And
last
he's like,
time
what?
showed up in Toontown first, and how he got to Villestown is he has no idea. He just showed up, and he didn't go through one of the transportation things. He's just like, I somehow got here. So
I
he can
just
go
got
through a
here.
transportation circle, but he literally can just show up places, and he doesn't know why.
Gosh, he just shows up. It's the plot's doing. Sometimes plot does this.
Oh,
It
there's things I
happens.
should tell you. Anyway.
I. Anyway, I guess the first thing Law should do is roll a perception for me.
Oh boy, my poor
What
boy.
should I do?
All right, that is I was gonna use the digital dice for now, just because.
Fine.
Yep.
Shall I do the same?
Uh, that's a 4. There we go. Good boy.
It's a park. It certainly is a park.
Hmm.
You don't recognize anything around you. There are trees. You appear to be like just kind of just before like the entranceway or the exit of the park. There's like a nice little gate, overarching gateway kind of dealio. Low bushes coming out from the side of that gate. There's like kids around playing on swings in the park. There's people walking around eating their lunch. Businessmen sitting next to each other, reading their newspapers, definitely not looking at each other and exchanging briefcases under the bench. Absolutely not. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
Laura wouldn't
it's
even see it.
no, it's just typical, typical normal bar.
Laura's definitely just like chilling out, looking at a tree, eating her PB and
Ooh,
J.
hanging out and enjoying. It is actually a decent day. It's a little chilly because it's nearing the end of like the winter months of Inkwell. It's still a little cold, but the snow is starting to go. But it's mostly just like cold, brisk winds and the occasional like dreary cloud above. But it doesn't look like it's gonna rain or anything. And I have to roll one of these. Oh, that's wonderful. Then I have to roll one of these. Um, Hey, do you want to tell me what kind of I mean, there's probably like little stalls in the park as well. There's like an ice cream bar kind of deal. There's a little cafe run by what seems to be an octopus toon. It's mostly like a coffee shop kind of deal. There's one stand like there's like a little ice cream van that's run by a very peppy Labrador, and then there's like a vehicle shaped in the shape of a hot dog. You probably fast food there. But yeah, tell me what would Lord do here? Where would they go?
Laura's gonna hang out by the tree because he has no money.
Oh, baby.
Also,
Oh.
he misses trees. He definitely hugged it at one point.
Oh gosh. Okay. Roll me one more perception just to see how this goes. Because you're listening to the wind whistling through the trees.
Yeah, he's
And,
got like his eyes closed, just like chilling out with his Jew tree buddy.
yeah.
He's definitely named it probably George or something. It's fine.
George the tree.
It's worse
That's
than
the
lice. It's less
so,
than lice. Less. It's a 3.
so this wasn't to say if you saw this. This is to see how long it takes you to
Oh
notice.
no.
You kind of like you're just busy enjoying the you're enjoying the breeze like running like across your face. There's like a few little drifts of like last bits of leaves flowing away, and ooh, that's a really nice breeze, like just running through your hair. And you reach up and you run your fingers through your hair, and wait a second. Hey, Law, you have a hat, don't you?
I'm guessing I don't anymore. But
You
yes.
don't have a hat anymore, Law. Hat's gone.
Yeah, no, he's definitely gonna like look around. Like, did it blow off? Like, I mean, he finished his sandwich. It's good. Like, make sure everything's in his backpack. Gets up, looks around.
Well, you open your eyes, and
Oh boy.
it's kind of well, it's kind of surprising you didn't notice this, considering that standing in front of you is a very tall creature. Like it's about the size of a giraffe horse, potentially even bigger than that. It's got a long green neck, wide horse-shaped body. It's got legs that seem to be like roots, kinda. But the head is that's is this an animal or is this a plant? Because that's the head of a sunflower, a huge sunflower, and that sunflower head, one of its feet is just looking at your hat, turning it this way and that, just kind of shaking its head from side to side to side, looking at it, or turning back towards you, and just how would you react to this?
So he is it? What are the pronouns of your horsey plant?
Oh, yes, they them.
They
This is
them.
Soul, by
Okay.
the way, people. This is Soul. There are they them.
Mm-hmm. Lore is a he. A very stupid he. Okay,
The
I
he
want
and
to
who.
a he who. He who.
You.
I want to double check a thing. All right, I'm gonna roll. Let's see. Doo-doo-doo. I totally know how to use my keyboard. It's fine.
Take your time. We have lots of time in the world. What
Oh
was
boy,
that?
that was my animal
It's,
handling.
oh, well, I know why you got a 5. You're trying to use animal hand. How do you do this? Tell me
So
what you're gonna do.
Lore is definitely gonna look up and be startled and just be like, "Whoa! Oh!" Look at his hat. Look at the face? Question mark? Sunflower? Lore doesn't know. And be like, "Uh, can I have my hat back?"
Well, I know why you got a 5 because you use animal handling on a plant.
Yep, that's
That ain't
Lore.
gonna work, buddy. You did your best, Law, but you see this sunflower just stare you dead in the face and very slowly lifts its front leg up with the hat in hand. Pop that hat on their head. Um, and they're just gonna take one step back, still looking at you.
No, 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 no.
They're gonna take another step back.
Wait, I kind of need that though. He like makes sure his backpack's on and tries to step closer.
They're gonna turn around, they're gonna bolt.
Lore's gonna try to keep up with them. Oh shoot, what's their
Okay.
movement?
What is Law's movement?
Uh, it's I'm pretty sure he's just normal 30 feet. What is Souls?
Souls is also 30 feet.
Oh boy.
However,
I can
however,
I can roll for a thing, but I'll wait.
you want to roll for a thing? You can if you want.
Oh no, I want to see what you do first, because I'm like I could roll for athletics, but
Yeah, I was gonna say we can do an athletics competition, see
oh
how well you keep
fun.
up.
Yeah, I have no idea what class Soul is, but that's kind of fun. Um, because I think you know what my boy is, but I don't know if you do know. 15. That's hilarious though
Ooh.
because I rolled a 7 plus 8.
Oh, it's a 14. Oh man, so close, soul, buddy.
I mean, that
So,
doesn't mean he gets the hat because I can totally see Lord just
oh,
trying to catch up, jogging
absolutely not.
beside this plant and like just missing every time he tries to swipe at it.
So yeah, you've definitely caught up to them. You're keeping pace with them, but you still can't quite grab at them. You can't get a hold. You try to reach out and you touch their body, and it's very smooth and slightly cool to the touch. It would probably be pleasant to curl up to, at a different time than them running off with your hat. And as you're running along, you see this creature look at you, just tilt their head to the side, and let me just see. You want to make me a deck save?
Oh, I can definitely do that. Also, if you're able to grab another reference for Soul, I would love that because I can picture them in my head, but I would love a refresher.
Oh
Deck
yeah, no, I can
save
pop them in.
is. And if you need another, I can send my little baby lawyer in there too. Um, Brain. Deck save. Yes. Okay. Um. Oh, please, my boy. Or fail. Actually, that would be hilarious. You know what? Just fail. Fail this entire time, lore. Sometimes when I give him negativity, like let's see. Fail. Okay, the one time he actually fails.
So
Oh, Soul my
yeah, they look
beloved.
like that. Yeah, they also have like a bud slash weird kind of sack on their tail, but I didn't mention that because I forgot. And at the
I
moment, they don't have those wings on them.
I'm drawing them later. I hope you know.
I enjoy drawing them. They are very shape and fun to draw. Um, but yeah, with that 5, yeah, you don't see this coming. You don't have time to prepare as Soul. Uh, don't come to a sudden stop. They they push all their weight on their front feet, swivel 90 degrees in the air, and you don't have enough time to react to this before they duck their head between your legs, flip you over onto their back, and then they're running. Um, and congratulations, you're riding backwards on a giant plant horse. And I'm
Oh,
gonna roll.
oh my gosh. I want to roll a thing too. Let's
Right.
see. What would I'm trying to figure out if this boy can hold on. So I'm like, should I roll for strength? Should I make a strength
That's up to you.
save? I'm just like,
Strength or deck save?
yeah, let's do a strength save because he's holding on.
Hmm.
Um,
Use your thigh muscles.
he's got those. Oh,
Mhm.
I should share a drawing with you later. Anyway, I was working on his official reference.
Oh, cool.
It's a 12.
Oh, cool. Hey, Law, have you ridden horses before, mate?
He has,
He
when
has.
they're big enough for him.
Law, this isn't like riding a horse. This is not like riding a horse at all. You think it's like riding a horse initially, but also do you ride horses backwards
No, he
typically?
does not. I'm pretty sure he doesn't, not intentionally.
No, buddy, you're trying to clench your legs together like you'd steer a horse, and it's not doing what you think it would do. Also, you're not riding a horse, mate. It's not gonna work. You do have a keep, like your legs are powerful enough to like keep hold, but you like have to brace your hands on the rear end of this creature as it gallops away. You're not gonna have the chance to turn around. And I will just say, as Sol is running through this park, you get a backwards view passing by you. As you run past a children's swing set, kids playing, laughing, having a good time in the field, you hear some disgruntled, "Hey, watch where you're going! Ah, god damn it, that thing's here again!" As a soul
Oh,
barges their
baby.
way through many crowds of people, and out of the park.
Amazing. I'm still working on the ref. The proportions are a little off on his arms, but there's that Laura. It runs out of the park. Yeah, Laura's getting a little like frustrated because all he wanted was his hat, and he doesn't know. I guess he's like, okay, not an animal, definitely a toon. No idea how
You
old
look
it
down.
is. Doesn't know anything about it. Still is trying to figure out how toons work because he's met all sorts. I mean, he met that robot that one time. That was confusing. Um, but he's just gonna try to. Oh, what would he do? I guess he's gonna like call out and be like, excuse me, sunflower plant thing, person, can you, I just wanted my hat back.
Um, I'm afraid to say this thing doesn't respond. Um, Anything, it seems to go a little bit faster as you say that, and you're hearing now as it's running out of the park
Really
and
quick.
down the street.
Do
Just
How fast would you say they're going? Because if it's pretty fast, I'm gonna have
um,
to roll a thing.
okay, give me just a second because they do have a thing that helps them go faster.
Oh no no
Um,
no, baby no.
yeah, they got Long Strider, so they're going
Oh
40
crap.
speed.
Oh no. Yeah, that's probably
You
enough.
suddenly see underneath your where you're holding on, you
Hmm.
can see the bud of their tail just shake a little, and you can roll a perception on that if you want. But you see that shake, and then suddenly you feel like you're going faster. Oh gosh.
Oh no. Well, first I have to roll a Constitution saving throw because
Oh
Lore is not
no.
used to going fast.
Oh no,
It's been a
baby.
He's ridden horses before, but it's been long. It's been a while because he gets lost, so he hasn't had the need to travel per se. And when you're just working in a field, you don't necessarily have to be on the horse.
Yeah,
And okay, no, he keeps
that's
he's doing great this time. That's a
your
23.
modifiers though. Your modifiers are
Oh,
excellent.
they're excellent, and I still roll like crap.
That's fine. Sometimes that's the fun of it.
Oh no, it's hilarious. I
Um,
just feel so bad for my baby. So they're now going faster. I can roll perception, just
yes, you
because
may.
I do like rolling. That's a 10.
10. Well, I mean, as a 10, that would see it. You are kind of staring at it. You're kind of like looking around, and you think out of the corner of your eye, you see the bud start to shake, and then you're going faster. But it's kind of hard to tell. But it looks like the bud has changed somehow. You can't quite tell how. It's too fast. It's like the line art around it is blurring as you're running, so you can't quite grasp on what exactly is different about it. Um, but yeah, so next up we are we take a turn.
Yeah, at this
Um
point, Lore is holding on for dear life.
yeah, I can only imagine. You've got your thighs in your hands and that's all you got. Um yeah, okay, so this is what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen is I'm gonna roll a quick thing for them here. Da, da, la, la, da, da. Yes.
Me,
Yeah, okay.
actually, as you talk, I'm just like checking a thing. don't,
Okay, yeah,
don't,
that's fine, dude. Do
don't
what you need to
worry
do.
about it.
Right. As Laura's holding on for dear life, Sol is just barging down the streets. By the way, they are trying to get out of the way of people, but they're just large. They are very large, and they keep knocking people over. You just hear indignant shouts, and you hear one person say, "My apples!" as green and red apples go spraying into the air and land with a very sad plat 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 into the middle of the road. And then see the man try to reach out, and then a truck comes over and just runs all these apples smush into the road. as Sol runs past and this man
Lord,
drops to his knees and a
Lord
single
just,
tear is shed.
Lord just shouts out, "Sorry!"
My apples! You hear, fading into the distance as you turn another corner.
Laura's just wincing.
Gosh. Um, did you want to try and roll a dex to see if you can turn around?
Well, yes, but I had a thought. Depending on, it is an FPS, so depending on how you feel about this, Laura has a thing called grappling strike.
Ooh,
So it's like immediately
okay.
after you hit a creature with a melee attack on your turn, you can expend one superiority die and then try to grapple the target as a bonus action. Add the superiority die to your strength athletics check. And so if Lore doesn't actually hit them, they can still try to do the grapple.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, because they're
I'll
gonna
just
see.
ask, are you doing damage with this?
What?
Are you doing damage with this?
Uh,
Or is
I
this
don't.
literally
I
just
don't
you
want
trying
to
to...
do damage with it so much as use this maneuver to.
You can just roll to try and grapple then. That's fine.
Yeah, but I get a
Yeah.
bonus if I do it like this.
Okay. No, yeah, I'll say this is like a non-painful way.
Yes,
If
he's
we do
literally
it.
gonna try to. Okay, let's see. That's this 8, and then I think you do semicolon for another die, right?
Hmm?
Okay, and then is there a space in between that semicolon or just all
Oh,
together?
there's no exclamation mark and no space. You just put another D.
Ah, okay. D, and then I think superiority die are D6. Boom. That's a 14. Dang it! The thing. Okay, I rolled. Okay, what was the D20 plus 8? Was just a 10 because I rolled a
Yeah.
2. And then the D6 was a 4. Oh my gosh. See, this is what I'm talking about. I have a plus 8 to athletics, and I got a
Gosh.
10.
Okay, so that would be via my armor versus my armor class, wouldn't it? Or was that the versus my strength modifier?
Uh,
Or
it can be whatever you would like it to be.
okay, I'm gonna roll competing athletics just to see how that goes.
Because Laura's trying to wrangle the horse plant.
Well, I rolled a 10. So tell me, how does law stop the horse?
Well, how much do you think? How much do you think Soul weighs?
It varies actually, depending on their water content.
Oh
So
dear.
whatever you want them to weigh, they can weigh.
Okay. I used to know the math for this, but my boy got a has a natural 20 for their strength.
Oh, I would say
So
that's enough.
yeah, I feel like
Whatever
they
you want
can
to
lift the plant because they're gonna try to slide off and just skid it and then pick it up so it
do.
can't run.
Oh my gosh, I just imagine this like you drop your legs down and then you skid them like a against the floor as you try to pull this thing back, and then you just lift it front first, and then bottom. Um, I don't know if you're
Just
holding it like you would hold a dog, or if you're holding it just straight up in the air, like you
straight up in the
press.
air by its stomach, just like nope.
Okay, I'm gonna roll something. How long does it take Sol to realize that they're no longer running? Um, 14. Okay, so they kind of swing their rooty feet in the air. You almost get whacked on the nose with one of their feet as they run, and then they just start to slowly kind of change it, like they're swimming almost. They're like doing like doggy paddle, push, 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 push. But even that begins to slow as they stop, and their legs just tangle down. And then slowly you just see a whoo as the very long neck and head looks at you, upside down. Don't worry about how the hat's staying on. The hat is still staying on their head,
He's
and they
impressed.
just cock their head at you very curiously.
Lore is like not glaring, but looks like um responsible older brother chastising child. Just hey, I don't know what your name is. Nice to meet you. However, that's my hat. And you wrecked those poor dude's apples. So maybe slow down a little bit, bud. And can I get that hat back?
Okay, give me a second. Do you want to roll insight for me?
Yes. Oh, insight I think is just another
Did you
strength.
get that 20 on this?
Oh my gosh.
Why did you get a 20 on this?
I got a 17. Dang it.
Oh, damn. This creature seems to have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. Like, you say the word hat and they just tilt their head in confusion, like, what hat? By the way, that was a nat 20 in deception. They're trying to, I thought they were going to roll low and it'd be like, no, what hat? They rolled a nat 20.
Well, they can have
really confused.
disadvantage if you want to give it to them because it's very obvious they have the hat.
Well, I will do so. That's an 11.
Lord,
Yes, okay,
Lord
we'll
just,
take that 11.
Lord just looks at them. Actually, here, let's see. I'm pretty sure I can't roll any higher, but yeah, no. Let's stick with the 17. Laura just looks at them again with the unimpressed sibling face and is just like, the hat that is on your beautiful flower head, that was a gift, and I would very much like to keep it. I will put you down if I can have it back.
See Soul tilt their head to the side again, and then slowly reach up, and then ding, 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 point at their hat with their little rooty finger.
Yes, that one. I think it's pink one. Yes, that one.
Okay.
Laura doesn't know what color it is.
Laura's so valid. Tilt their head to the side again. The other side this time. Slowly nods, and then reaches one long rooty hand up. And could you roll me a strength save, please?
Ooh, okay. Come on, buddy. Do this for me.
Oh.
Oh, stop it, soul. Okay. My boy's supposed to be good at one thing.
Come on, Lo. Come on, Lo.
Oh, that's gonna be so. Oh, okay, let's see. All right, come on, buddy. Where's? Oh, how do keyboards work? Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah. See, this is what I'm talking about. He has, but you have a +3, and I have a +8.
He's got
But I rolled a
+8.
14, and you rolled a 19.
You know what, Katie? If you ever get physical dice, use your physical dice because Dice Paster's got it out for you.
I do have physical dice. If you want me to roll with physical dice, I will. I have them right
If you
here.
want to. If you think it would be better for lore.
The thing is, anywhere I roll, it is bad.
Okay.
So here, let me just see if I can prove a point. Let's see. I got this die. We're gonna roll it, and never mind, that was a 17. The one time I'm trying to make a point, but the universe hates me. It's fine.
Hurt me so much. Like, no, see, we didn't hate you. You're just being dramatic.
Oh,
But anyway.
we're just gonna, gaslight you.
Wow, gaslighting Dice Passer. I'm not surprised somehow. Anyway, unfortunately with that 14, as Soul reaches up for the hat on their head, it's too late for you to react. You feel 3 points of contact, 2 on your shoulder, and then 1 on your arm, and then poof, you are pushed to the ground as Soul uses you as a launch point, leaps away from you, and sticks to the side of a building. And the passerbyers just kind of shrink away, like, oh my goodness, what is that thing? Oh gosh, oh man, it's that thing again that keeps running around and knocking stuff over. It stole my coffee last week. It stole my milk. And you see.
I'm sorry,
the
all it can
roots
be
of-
like is in the background. It stole my baby.
It stole my milk. It stole my coffee. And you see its rooty little feet start to work its way into the brickwork of the building. It looks at you, does a little butt wiggle, like a ding 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 ding, and then scatter, 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 scatter. It scuttles up the wall.
I looked up the D&D math for how much a character can let's see. You're gonna think this is funny. So how much they can carry slash is up to 15 times their strength score. So Lore can carry 300 pounds without feeling it. but
Stonk.
but he can push, drag, or lift up to 30 times their strength, which is 600 pounds,
Oh my god.
without feeling it. So yeah, he picked up that plant horse.
Easy. No problemo.
He bench presses. Anyway,
It
well,
works out.
he works out on the printing presses. Oh my gosh, he's such a nerd though. Buff nerd.
Gosh.
Okay, but let me. Oh my poor boy. So the plant escaped over buildings, right? Soul escaped over the buildings.
Uh, they're scuttling up the side of one right now.
Oh, I have things I can do. Don't worry.
Go ahead. If you want to do something, go ahead.
Yeah. Let's see. Where's my stuff? Okay. Well, let's see what my things let me do. I'm finally glad. I'm like, I finally get to use things. Anyway, all right. I'm gonna try. Okay. Should it be? What do you want me to? Would this be athletics? I think I'm gonna do.
It
I'm gonna
depends what you
say.
want to do. You
I
don't have to
want.
ask me what exactly you want to do, but yeah,
Uh, well, let me
what do you want
roll
to do?
and then make my case.
Go for it.
Dang, yeah. See, this is what I'm talking. Maybe okay. I was gonna have like Lore try to run up the building,
Oh my
like
gosh.
parkour, but I don't think he managed unless I can roll again. But I doubt it. This poor boy, he rolled a 10, so
Oh,
I just see him trying to, and like he reaches up for like a like fire escape thing, but it's UPA in,
oh my gosh.
and
Just
so
smacks his hand into the wall. It's just smack,
just
smack,
like
smack, 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 smack.
just slides back down. Laura would just look up and be like, okay, maybe we got off on the wrong foot. Could you just come back down here?
Um, you see the thing crane its neck back over its back as it is scuttling up the side. Now the third story of this building. This building in particular has four stories to it. It's pretty tall, decently tall. It stops for a second, looks back down at you, and you just see a ding ling 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 of its head shake from side to side. And it looks back up, and it starts to scuttle. Um, I will say, you can roll a perception again with advantage to see if you can find anything or if you have any other ideas to try and get to this thing.
With advantage. Oh man, I'm just like, do I stick to dice parser or do I do real dice? Oh,
Shoot, go with what your heart decides.
my heart says dice parser just because I'm like, I got beef with it.
Go for it.
Okay, you said perception with advantage, so that would be that, and I want to learn how to use this thing. Okay. That's a 14.
Too bad. So with a 14, you look around and you did see that alleyway that you ran down to go to the fire escape, but the building that Sol is scaling up, that's like a small it's not a department store, but it's one of those buildings that you can rent one floor each. So there's like different businesses on each floor. Like the bottom floor is like groceries, where it has like the wonderful little striped awnings covering like bags of like potatoes and bananas and grapes and oranges and all other sorts of weird, strange fruits. And then there's a second floor. You can't see anything from where you're at. The blinds seem to be down. And then there's a third floor, and the third floor's kind of weird. It's just got like there seems to be like water coming out of one of the windows. I don't know what that's about. And the fourth floor you're too far down to really see, but you can probably get up to the roof if you just go inside and go up the stairs.
Okay. Lore Lore is a very, very, very he's from a town of less than 50 people. He does not know this is a department store. But he does recognize that each floor seems to be different. And I want to see if this stupid boy can do. Let's see. My heart tells me to roll a physical die. That's 11 plus 8. So that is a 19 in athletics. He's gonna see if he can somehow climb up this building because the thought of going through the building did not occur to him.
That's fair. 19 athletics. So
I can try
what
to
happens
describe
here?
if you'd like.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I keep
Oh no no
describing for
no
you. You
no no
do
no.
your description.
Do I love your descriptions? And honestly, 90% of the time, I need help. And take the damn compliment. I love you. Anyway, um,
That's fair.
I can just imagine. So very tall building. Toontown, big city-ish type deal. He Laura quickly like makes a pained face because that's his hat, and looks around really quickly, dashes into the alley, and tries to wall kick his way up, and it works.
Oh, oh my
Just
gosh.
finally finds something he can grab onto and keeps climbing.
Can't believe you Actually, yes, I can believe you parkoured your way up to the goddamn roof.
He's 6'6". He can figure it out.
He's got a long leg. He stretched his long leg.
Yeah.
But yeah, all kicks up like an absolute like a Gibeon or a
Yeah.
Canadian. Like if you were a toon, that's probably where you come from because damn that leg strength, boy. Kick, 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 kick.
If my poor boy, who is a fighter, can't do this, I'm just like, then why doesn't he have magic?
Look, you either have magic or you have big, strong, buff muscles.
Like,
There's no in between.
you can choose parkour or magic. There's no in between.
Oh gosh, you tell that to Arado. Anyway,
I would love
you
to.
talk with the army later. I don't know. see what they say. But you get to the rooftop. You use barely any of your strength to just lift yourself over the top barrier, which is just like a little bit of a cement rise, about an inch above the floor, and you see that the plant horse is still there. I'm gonna roll a perception. Were you quiet at all doing this, by the way?
He was
Were you being
quiet.
stealthy?
Let me roll for strength. I think, well, technically I have him with his armor on despite not having armor on because I was checking things, but let's see, because I think
He's
doesn't
not wearing his armor, then don't give him disadvantage. You don't have to.
exactly, but I'm just like, I should probably take it off because, well, I know his armor class without his armor. Uh, fun little thing, when he has his armor on, his AC is 20. So,
Nice,
my boy, I love him so much.
boy.
He can't use magic at all. It will blow up in his face. Okay,
Oh,
this
shit.
is a stealth save, I think. What would that be? Dexterity, I
Just
guess?
roll a plain old stealth, not a
Oh,
stealth save.
okay. I'm still remembering how to do things because I've mainly been doing RP, which is great.
You
Uh,
pat you so much.
okay, let's see. Do, do. This is why I'm really excited for the Splatfest game. Because I'm like, yes. Target the child. Dice parsing, why? There we go. It's a 7. Yeah, no. He might have been trying to be stealthy, but it would not work. You hear like effort and like the echoes of feet, like getting closer from the walls, and then just this tall man landing on the roof, looking like, "Hey," and pointing, just like
Soul is holding
that is
all
my hat.
the wrongs. I was gonna say if you'd done like good, Soul would just have been staring down at where you were, wondering where you went. But no, you made a lot of noise kicking your way up that wall. So when you get up there, Soul's head is turned towards you. The front feet are clinging to the front of this building, and they're looking at you, and they just stretch one of their back legs back like doom.
No, 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 no. Laura just nope.
They put that foot down and they look at you, Law, and they ping back into that back foot, turn 180 degrees, and this is where I get to roll another thing here. because they are doing a very silly thing. Let me just see. I need to check a thing. Give me a moment.
Yeah, no, you're fine, but just for flavor, just imagine that, first off, tall boy riding plant horse through town.
Mhm.
Boy picks up plant horse. Plant horse gets the one up on this boy, and then boy just like Spider-Man Mario wall kicks up to chase plant horse.
Chase the haunts. Chase the haunts. Oh, you have three of these. Okay. Hmm.
Should I be scared?
All right. What they're gonna do? Um, you're gonna see. You're gonna see them kind of shimmer faintly, like their outline gets slightly silvery and then slightly black, slightly kind of glowy. And then they rush to the other side of the rooftops you were on. It's only about 20 foot wide, if even that. They grip the edge of the roof, put their back feet on the edge of the roof, and then they spring over whilst casting jump onto the next rooftop. And they're off.
Oh
Rooftop
no.
chase, baby, let's go.
Me being like, how far can a D&D character jump? I'm like,
Don't worry
Lord,
about the schematics here. Like, you can just roll acrobatics.
well, see, I'm also just curious now.
Gosh.
Oh boy. Okay. Um, let's see.
I actually, however, will say as it runs away,
Yeah. He can jump up to 20 feet apparently
um,
horizontally. So
oh,
I think he'll be good.
oh, roll acrobatics. Let's see how this goes because
Oh,
I won't make you roll
acrobatics.
for every jump. I'm just gonna have this as be
Oh,
a flat roll kind of deal.
yeah. No, acrobatics is his weak point, but we'll see.
There you go.
Don't worry, I do like rolling. That's one of the reasons I like D&D. You get to roll dice, and I like dice.
Look, in my FPSs, I tend to tell people to roll a lot because my brain is in
Well,
DM mode and it
it's a
doesn't turn off easily.
it's a creative spark. It helps you know to know how it goes. I'm totally for that. Um,
Cool.
my brain stopped working. I'm rolling for acrobatics. That's right.
Acrobatics.
Acrobatics is +3. Please, my boy. 20. He's fine.
Clearing these rooftops with ease. That wasn't a nat 20, but that was a dirty
Nope.
20.
There was a
These rooftops are not giving
17
you an
plus
issue.
3. Yeah.
Yeah.
This poor
You clear
boy.
these rooftops with ease. You're not catching up with this creature, with Soul, but you are keeping pace. You're not losing sight of it. And this creature is bouncing from rooftop to rooftop. You jump over an alleyway, and if you were to look down, you'd see in one alleyway there's a kid going through their backpack looking at like balls of some stuff. You don't know what that's about. You keep running. You jump over another alleyway, and you see two UPAing cats, one blue with a red bandana and one red with a blue bandana, spray painting a wall with graffiti and kind of just snickering to themselves as they draw what seems to be a spider on the wall. And keep running, and you keep running. And do you want to roll me? Actually, no, don't roll me this. You will notice because as you're jumping around, this creature seems to be getting out further away from the city, and they seem to be heading in a certain direction.
Oh gosh. Laura's just gonna be like face wise and just like mentally be like, well, I guess I got nothing else really going on, so I guess we're doing this now. Just keeps going.
So sorry, I'm so sorry, dude.
Oh, he's
You will have
fine.
the rest at the end of this, man.
Sorry, what?
Said he will have his rest by the end of this, I swear.
I mean, this boy is not easily tired. You're good. I can roll for Constitution if you want, but his flat Constitution is. Oh boy, tell me your Constitution. He has good stats. His Constitution is 17.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The only
I
thing
won't have
that's
you roll that
yeah,
yet.
his only low stat is his wisdom.
Dump stats. Everyone's got a dump stat. Um, I will say, roll me. You're rolling a wrong. Could you roll me a perception?
Boom, 3. On brand.
You get distracted because you're kind of looking around, like you are like keeping your eye on this creature, and you're jumping over the rooftops. Like it's become almost automatic now, and your eyes just kind of drift. And oh wait, that hey, is that a library? Hey, wait, that's a library. Wait, that's a library, and you just kind of slow down a little bit just to look over at the library, just kind of absent-mindedly
Oh,
drift a little. And you shake your head and you look back, and
oh
creature's
no.
gone.
Really quick,
Creature's gone.
just lore in this moment is so torn. He's just like, oh, do I go to the library? I finally found one. But he's like, but my hat. And looks back and it's gone. He's like, my hat!
Oh my gosh.
Oh, he's gonna keep going forward and try to find where this plant horse went.
Cool. I'm not gonna make you roll perception again because I'm not cruel.
I will roll whatever you need me to do.
No, I'm not gonna make you roll perception again. The dice passer is bullying your child.
It's
Um,
okay. He bullies other people
I will
without
say
meaning
it's
to.
he does, and I love him for it. Um, so you initially do look around on the rooftops because that's where you last saw them. They were jumping over the roofs, but as you look around, you realise you're not on like flat rooftops anymore. You didn't really notice as you were running along, but now you're on like shingled, tilted roofs. Like they're the triangular like pyramid type roofs instead of the flat tops you get in cities. You're definitely out further in the more urban areas or suburban areas of Toontown, and specifically, you kind of look down and you're on a nice kind of drive. There's trees between every house along the pavement, and there's like very nice big houses here. And then you look across, and there is a very tall hill, very tall hill, and you see something going up that hill. It's not going as fast as it used to, but hey, you found your target. It is trotting up that very steep hill at a clip.
Oh no. Here, let me. Oh boy. Okay, let's see. What you got for me, Lore? What? Let's see. Um. Okay. Let's just. I was seeing if there's anything fancy I could do, and I'm like, nope, not for this. It's fine. Because I can just hopefully roll for athletics really quick. Please work. That's a 19. I'll take it. Okay, Laura's literally gonna see that, and just literally jump off the roof and roll, and then start running after it.
Hell yeah. Okay.
Like literally, like does the roll, does the skid, ignores the people being like, "What the flip is this real kind doing?" and just like bolt after this his
I will
hat.
say, there's not actually many people around. This street is quite quiet, actually, very peaceful. Like the only thing you can hear running across the road, there are a few cars parked along the side of the road, and there's like nice drives with very nice red tiling where the parks are parked there, and each house seems to have like a nice little fence gate or brick wall. The only thing you really hear is like the wind going through the trees. It's very quiet, and this is where I'm going to ask you to roll the con save for me because
Uh,
you're running up a steep hill.
yeah.
You did roll high on your athletics though, so if you
Mhm.
want to do an advantage, you can do.
I would love to do an advantage. Also, fun fact about Lore:
Damn! Soul's on your birthday.
he really wants that hat. Like Lore knows it's a good hat, but it's his good hat.
It's not the first time Soul has stolen a hat that they liked.
Yeah,
It's
Lore's
how they
getting.
meet.
Is how he, is this how they meet all their friends?
It's how they met probably two of their friends,
Okay,
at
let's
least.
see. Con save. Okay. Please work for me. Okay. Fun fact about Lore, he does not exactly know what cars are and has never been in one.
That's fair. They're just strange contraptions
Yeah.
on what seems to be the entrances to people's houses.
Yeah, after being in the professor's box, though, and traveling in that, he is very nervous to try. 23. He's
Ooh,
fine.
23. Fine. You think actually like that struggle to get up that building earlier has kind of lit a fire in your gut, and there's a little fire behind your eyes, and you are not losing this creature again. Hell no, you want your hat back. And you follow this creature just fine up the steep hill. And as it crests the top and disappears from sight for just a couple of moments, and you pop back up and you follow it. You can follow this. I'm not going to make you roll perception or anything like that. You cut across what seems to be a cul-de-sac kind of deal. You see just the glimpse of something ducking into an alleyway between two houses. You follow it, and you take a left and you take a right, and you hear the thud 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 of visiting steps, and you're running through a maze of back alleyways of houses, and you're just, gosh, am I mean enough to make you roll survival here?
Oh, yes, do it, do it, do it.
Alright,
Like,
roll survival
bully
for
my
me.
child, this is karma.
Go for it. I'm also
Okay,
going to roll.
what is your
I'm going to roll survival
survival?
with advantage because Soul actually knows where they're going,
Okay,
and I think
yeah, it's just
they
straight.
can do that.
17. Oh, Lore isn't lost for once. Probably because he doesn't know where they're going.
So you can hear. If you do get lost or confused for a second, you just hear a thump, 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 and you just follow the thumping noise. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
for
You hear
Lore's
the
curse,
thumping.
it usually messes with him if he's trying to get to a specific place, but he's just following a person, so he should be good.
So you follow that noise, and then you burst out of the end of this alleyway, and you look around, and you're on another road. It seems to end, or actually, no, it doesn't end. It just keeps going on to another place. You can't quite see it; just goes on, and then takes like a turning. But you do see, you see the giant creature again. It takes a left into what seems to be a bunch of like, you can't quite see it from here, but you do take a left. It seems to be some sort of opening.
Lore's gonna just. Is it an opening between buildings or plants or.
Um, so if Law runs up to it, you can see it. It looks like a really old gate, like a chain, not a chain link gate. Actually, no, yeah, it is a link gate, like just those kind of crisscross wired kind of deal. They
Mhm.
look very old. It looks like the gates have basically fallen off or been taken away, or maybe it was like a wooden gate kind of thing. It's kind of hard to tell, but there was hinges, and there are no longer anything attached to the hinges, and there is another arch over the top with wood with something written in it you can't really read.
What
Um,
language is it in?
it's not because it's in another language. It's because it's just old and
Ah,
faded. It's
okay.
like old rotten wood.
Yeah.
Um,
So Laura's definitely gonna go ahead and run in and just like call out to Soul, who he doesn't know their name yet. Just like, can you at least tell me the name of my hat thief?
um, they do slow down a little bit, and they look over their shoulder. Then you see their whole body just do a wiggle, 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 and their whole outline just vibrates like. Um, it doesn't seem to be. I mean, you can roll insight here if you want. Um,
E. Yeah, Laura's also gonna like call out, we could just be friends instead.
as you say that, the vibrating intensifies, and you can tell with the 17, that's not angry or malicious. That's like excited dog wiggling. That's like
Oh,
excitement, happy vibe that you're getting. Well, this thing turns back around and trots down the slope.
Laura just is confused, but definitely like slowly jogs after. Just, is that a yes? Can he just trails off like mentally, just like I have no idea if it can talk. I did not see a mouth, but tunes sometimes surprise you.
Sometimes. Gosh. You follow this thing down, and the road spirals to the left. I say it's a road, it's a dirt path. It's wide enough for you and like maybe three other people to stand abreast. It's not super narrow, but if you look down the side that's open edge, it's just a deep drop. That is, you can't see the bottom because there's so much like tree and shrubbery and brush down there that you can't see the bottom. You don't think it'd be a good idea to stand near the edge of this bit. Central column that's spiraling downwards would probably be best.
Yeah, he's gonna stick to that, but he's also gonna look down and just like kind of laugh and just be like, well, that feels familiar. Like, this is what the mountains of his home are kind of like.
Oh, it's so good to hear, dude. But yeah, you walk down, and by the time you get to the bottom, you come out into a clearing, and I'm gonna ask you once again to roll me perception. And whilst you do, I'm gonna describe the obvious things for you.
It's a
So
6.
that's fine. It just means you won't see one particular detail, but it's not super important in this one. So the first thing you see, very obviously, it's a big pond, huge pond. It stretches from the left. It doesn't go as far to your left, but it seems to stretch onwards quite a bit to your right. And then you look at the right, and that's like a rock wall face of some sort. Like it's just a rock hewn wall. Yeah, it's rocks. Rocks with a few bushes, maybe in certain places growing out of it. And
Lore
then
nods. He understands rocks.
rocks. There is like curve of earth that's going around the whole pond, and there seems to be like an inch of dirt that slopes down into this pond. But on the other side, you notice something shining. As
Mm.
the clouds very briefly, like the whole time you've been chasing this thing, it's been overcast, but then almost serendipity. I cannot say that word. Almost
Serendipitous.
that's the word. Almost like that word. Just briefly, the clouds move away, and a ray of sun just is cast upon this shining thing, but you can't tell what it is from here. It's still a little too far away. You see a figure making its way around the left side of the lake, heading towards it.
Lore is gonna guess that the figure is his quote unquote plant friend. He is not sure. They did happy wiggles, so he's like, is this like when kids steal a thing and then want to be your friend? I think so. And there's a shiny thing. Okay, just keep on jogging.
Oh,
Curses and
um,
infernal.
I presume you jog around the left side of the lake. Oh, the pond, sorry.
Yeah, they're gonna. Sorry, what?
I presume you're moving around the left side of the pond.
Yee, they're just hoping to get to the silhouette.
Fair enough. You jog around the left side of the pond, follow the silhouette, and it has stopped outside of this shining thing, which is no longer shining as the sun has once again been covered up by clouds. Um, and you get close to this thing, and oh, this is an old greenhouse. By old, I mean most of the windows, most of the glass panels have been shattered. Some of the metals have warped and twisted. The lock that used to be on the door is completely gone. Actually, the whole door is gone. If you were to look inside, there are some things growing in there. You can probably roll like a nature or something to tell what they are.
Mm.
But this big creature is just sitting, laying down actually belly first, head on the head on the floor, looking out the pond, and one of their feet dips into the pond, and you just hear a noise as it takes a big sippy drink from the pond.
Did you say one of its hands?
Yeah, one of its feet.
Okay,
Its feet is in the pond.
awesome. Uh, hmm. I could roll nature, or I could roll history because he probably has read about them.
Yeah, you can do if you want.
Yee. That's a 13. Yay!
Was that nature or history?
That was history.
Okay. I mean, you probably have a history with things like tomatoes and potatoes and like fruit and vegetables. These these look like fruits and vegetables grown that have grown over and over and over again on themselves. Um, in terms of history, what kind of things did you want to get with the history? Like how old this place is, how old
Um,
the
so probably about how old it is, but mainly just like if he recognized the plants from books.
okay. Well, yeah, I presume if you've been to cooking books and things like that, or things that detail
My
farming and stuff.
my poor baby can't cook very well, but he sure has read about it.
Okay, that's good to know. I'm gonna note that down for later. Um, yes, yeah, that's there's a load of potatoes, fruit and veg, like some grapevines growing up the back wall, going out of control. Um,
He is going to. Sorry, I wanted to roll a dexterity check because he is gonna like quickly take out a notebook, and as he approaches, because Plant Friend isn't running anymore, he's gonna quickly like sketch very loosely some of the things he sees because he likes this place.
okay, that's cool. Um, I'm gonna roll something
Yeah,
for salt.
literally just like 10-second little thumbnails.
That is fine.
Yeah, he has
He,
proficiency in calligraphy, and so I'm just like, I think he can draw.
yeah, yeah, let him draw. He can draw if he wants.
He can draw if
Um,
he wants to.
he can draw if he wants. Um, but yeah, so I will ask you.
Yes.
Actually, I won't ask you to roll anymore on this one.
No, you can do
You.
whatever you like to.
I keep asking you to make rolls. I should not keep asking you. If you want to make.
I literally told you that I like rolling. You're good.
No, but still. Anyhow, you're scratching and doodling. You're looking around, and then you look at this broken greenhouse, and you sketch that, and you look at the pond, and you're sketching that out, and then you look at this creature, and the hat's off its head now. It's holding the hat in one hand, and you see a finger seeming to approach the hat. You don't know what they're doing, but they seem to be head cocked, and there's a finger just very slowly coming towards the hat, like one
God.
rooty finger outstretched.
Lawyer's gonna like quickly finish up scribbling in his book and throw it back in his backpack, and then just casually approach and wave a hand. Hi, not trying to startle you, but that's my hat. Is it possible to get it back?
Uh, this thing looks at you, looks at the hat, looks at you, and just slowly shakes its head. And then it holds its finger out to you, and you're gonna see its bud's tail wiggle again, which you will note, huh, that's a little bit smaller than it was before. It was kind of hard to notice, but yeah, no, that is a little smaller than it was before when you first met this thing. And you're gonna hear, oh, my mic's not picking it up. I'm popping for people that can't hear that, but
I heard it just fine. You're good.
no, it's just my on my recording for my for the mic. But
Ah.
yeah, you're gonna hear a popping noise coming from this finger, and coming out of that finger is a little flower. And Soul looks to the hat, then looks at you, and then looks back to the hat, and then goes back to move the flower towards the hat.
Lore is just gonna keep approaching and hoping for the best, and just gonna look at the hopeful plant friend like, uh, uh just like stammers and curses in a different language again. Just slowly approaches. He's stressed. He's like, my hat.
I'm gonna roll something to see how well this goes. Another 13. Okay. Um, you can roll. You can roll to stop this if you want, but you're gonna see Soul try to poke its finger through your hat, and you think it's gonna try and thread this flower through your hat.
Hmm. Which I'm totally fine with that, by the way, too. But I'm just thinking, what would Lore do? What would I roll?
To stop them?
Yeah, potentially. I'm just trying to figure out what he would do.
I mean, you can roll another grapple, or you can roll like a dex save
Let's see.
of some sort.
All right, Lore's just kind of gonna reach out, and be like, "Is it? Just, just be careful, if you're able."
They look back at you, and then they look down at the hat, and they look at their finger, they look back at you, and then they hold out the finger with Daisy on it, out towards you.
Lore's gonna calmly approach and eye the flower base, and just slowly take the flower, and hopefully start reaching for his hat.
I'm gonna roll perception. Roll me a sleight of hand if you're trying to do this subtly.
Oh boy, what sleight of hand? Oh, hey, dang, that's not that bad. Go Lore. Hopefully he rolls okay. Doo-doo-doo. Oh, hey, dirty 20. Oh, mother!
I'm gonna roll disadvantage. I'm gonna roll disadvantage because it's distracted with the flower giving. That's better. Soul does not notice as you take the hat, and as you pull the flower, you hear another. Let me just see.
He's gonna shove it in his backpack too.
Okay. So yeah, you pull the flower, you hear a pop, and off the flower comes from their rooty fingers, which you now realise they grew from their hand. And they pop their little root back onto the floor, or actually back into the pond, and then they look at you, and they wiggle again. You just see the bud on their ear just go as it looks at you.
I was gonna do a deep sigh and just, if you wanted to be friends, you could have just like sat with me.
Soul reaches out. They cross one of their roots over. They just pat, 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 pat the floor next to them.
Lore's gonna take the hint, and he's still holding his little flower, and he comes, sits down next to Soul, and he looks up at Soul, and he's like, so do you have a name? I'm Lorem. You can call me Lore. Yeah. Do you? He just kind of trails off, not sure how to talk to Soul.
It's okay. Well, firstly, I've got to roll this intelligence check. Let's do this, baby. Thought. It's just the seeming. You get like nothing from this thing's face. Before you see it very slowly raise one of its rooty hands up, and then do the very slow like finger waggle wave at you, like just one finger closing down after another and cycling through that as it looks at you.
Let's see if Lore knows what's going on. Okay, baby. What's your intelligence? Please be okay. It's not the worst. It's 14. That's a +2.
Could always be dumber.
Well, yeah, I mean, there we go. There's a 19.
Wonderful. So that intelligence, what was that for exactly?
Just to see if you can figure out what Soul's doing with their fingers.
Oh, they're waving at you. Like that's a very slow. It's very slow. It's a little creepy. Like they're just doing, you know, those hand waves where you just like lower one finger at a time and then lift them back up and lower them again. I don't know how to describe that well, but
Yeah.
they're doing that essentially.
Lure is
Um,
gonna raise his hand and wave the same way back, just looking kind of questioningly, like mentally. Just, I guess we're doing this now.
Soul's gonna reach out their hand that was waggling and waving, and they're gonna thread their roots between your fingers and then tilt their head at you.
Lure's just gonna be like blush a little startled, like, oh, okay, thank you. Friends then? Do you He like writes his name in the dirt, Lore. Can you spell your name?
Soul looks down. I'm gonna roll another one of these. Okay. They look down. They tilt their head to the side, and they stick one of their roots in the dirt, circle around it, then poke you in the knee twice. Whilst they're doing this, by the way, they are just absent-mindedly swinging your hands backwards and forwards in the air. Um,
I think I lost you. You still there?
yeah, I'm here. Sorry, what did you last hear?
Um, Soul is waving their hands back and forth with Lore's, and that's what I heard.
Okay. So they also circled the name in the dirt, and they tapped Law's knee twice, and then cocked their head at them again.
Yeah. So Lore's looking at it. And he's like, yeah. That's my name. Lore McQuire Parif. Just call me Lore. Um, what's your name? Do you like kind of scribbles out his name with his hand and starts does a quick common alphabet, and he's like, can you point to the letters that are your name?
Gosh, Soul looks down at the alphabet that you've pointed out, and uh, hey Law, what alphabet have you used? Have you used like Faruman or common letters, I should say?
Yeah, he used common letters.
Soul looks down, and they just start like circling one letter, and then another letter, and then another letter, and then another letter. And it doesn't take you long to realize they're just circling what they think is looks nice. They are not circling anything in particular.
There's like sighs and is just like shakes his head fondly and is like, okay, no, that's not gonna. Hmm. He thinks he's like, okay, Toon's, yeah, your Toon. Maybe you only speak that one language. I think they said it's Growlix. And then he sighs. And he's like, I don't, crap, I don't know Growlix. And then I'm gonna have him roll another intelligence. Um, that's an 11. He's not quite sure what to do, but he's like looking at Soul just and says, "Do you know anybody who does know your name? Maybe they can tell me."
Let me roll again. Yeah, that's what I thought. So Soul just the head to the side, and then to the side again, and they slowly nod, and I'm gonna roll one of these. Because that insight was not only for what? Yeah, that was an insight. I think they're gonna look at you, Law, and then they're gonna turn around and they're gonna head in towards. No, they didn't even get up. You do see them kind of like pull their roots out of the water and just kind of flick the water back into the pond, and then they heave themselves up. They have let go of your hand by now, so they can stand on all 4 feet. Then they swing their head towards the greenhouse, and then back at you, and at the greenhouse, and back at you. And they just kind of nudge your arm towards the greenhouse.
Laura's just gonna stand up and start trotting over to the greenhouse.
You can roll an insight if you want. The
Ye-
soul is just gonna bring you over and then look at you, and then inside the greenhouse gonna look at you. 12.
That is a 12.
You can see they want you to do something with the greenhouse. You probably don't know what though.
Alright, let's do investigation. Do. That's a little bit better. Yay, dirty 20.
Dirty 20. So, you investigate the inside. Yeah, that's definitely a load of vegetables and fresh fruit, and not just fresh fruit, like ripe. Like there are a few like there's a load of berry bushes in here, like blueberries, raspberries, strawberries. Don't ask how they're all grown in the same weather type. This is Toontown. They can grow however they damn well please. Well, is it Toontown? It might be Toontown. And then there's like potatoes that just look ready to be eaten. There are tomatoes, potatoes, runner beans, string beans. There's food. There is ripe food here for the taking, if you wanted it. With that
Oh,
investigation.
Laura's so conflicted because it's not his. uh,
Well, I mean, around the greenhouse, it's busted up. This thing hasn't been touched in a while. I think if there was anyone that owned this place, they have long since forgotten about it or abandoned it.
Laura kind of fidgets, not sure what to do, but kind of sighs and looks at Soul and reaches a hand towards one of the berries and is like, points, is it okay if I take some?
You get an excited little like ding ling 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 of their head like bobbing up and down and nudging you in the shoulder.
Laura just laughs and takes some and makes sure they're okay before like eating a few, and oh, it is very good. And he thought about offering some to the plant horse, but then realizes again, no mouth, and just kind of like is not know what to do with the plant horse. But he is also going to take a couple potatoes because he knows those aren't going to mess up his bag.
Hmm. I'm gonna try and roll something. Okay, so Soul appears in through one of the jagged windows. That all the glass has been knocked out. There's no actual glass in this one. They see you're struggling a little bit choosing some stuff, and you don't see how they do it, but you do suddenly see coming up next to you there is a decently sized cloth of some sort in red and white checkers. Soul hands over to you.
Laura just looks at it like, oh, is this for points at the food and kind of looks at Soul, just is this for food? Taking food, or do I put it in here? Just double checking he's not sure. He's trying to be polite, but he's not even sure if he's communicating properly with
Gosh.
the plant horse.
Laura's trying his best, and I love him very much. Soul is a difficult creature, even when you can understand them. I'm afraid Soul's not gonna tell you anything. They are just again gonna like nudge you with their little cloth. They're just gonna nudge you with the cloth that's holding this.
Laura's gonna take it and smile at Soul and just like wrap it around his head like a bandana, and he's like, "Oh, like this?" Obviously, just being teasing. Like this is his new hat.
Soul's gonna look up and look at you, and look up, and then they're just gonna actually I'm gonna roll a sleight of hand for this. You don't have to roll perception. You can clearly see this coming. They didn't do a great job. You see just out the corner of your eye, there's something reaching up towards your head.
Laura just snatches it and he's like, "Nope. I'm guessing this is for the food, right?" And just smiles.
No, actually, it's reaching up for your bandana. Soul was gonna pull that down over your eyes.
Oh. Laura's just like, and I should have expected that.
Um, Soul just kind of nudges their hand against yours. That's holding their hand hostage now. And they're like plucking at the bandana and then looking down at the berries and then looking back at you and then looking back at the berries and then looking at you.
Laura's just like, okay, okay, and starts picking berries and putting it in the cloth, just kind of smiling like, do you have some sort of laughs? All the everybody I've seen to meet so far has some sort of beef with something, but is yours with head coverings or something?
You get no response. They're just standing. They're standing near the doorway now, just watching you. They're not saying anything. They're just watching you go about your picking.
Laura just was kind of being silly anyway. And so he's like, yeah, yeah, okay. I'm talking to a flower horse. All right. Whew. And just keeps picking berries and going through the garden and plucking some things until the little bit of cloth is full. And then he's just going to walk back over to Soul and just be like, is this why you stole my hat? Did I look... He laughs. Did I look that sad?
Soul's head rocks to the side. Um, and then they're just gonna reach up and pop you on the nose.
Lord just looks confused, but just smiles like, I have no idea what that means, but okay.
They're gonna pop you on the nose twice.
Each time he kind of leans back a little bit more and just like closes his eyes on the last one and then looks back at the plant. And there is no nose to boop, so he just again feels confused as to what he's supposed to do, but he smiles anyway, albeit a little sheepish, and is just like, thank you.
Soul just slowly lowers their hand, steps back, lets you out of the greenhouse. And you have been. You've actually probably been at this a lot longer than you think. By the when you got here, it was like afternoon time when you appeared in that park. It's now late evening. Like the sun is on its way down. Like you can only barely. Actually, no, it's not even on its way down. It's barely peeking over the horizon. It is dark. It's dark out now. I will say that the sun casts a very interesting kind of color on the water. It's very pretty. Water that looks like it's on fire with the amount of orange and reds and yellows just kind of
The
across its
things he
surface.
cannot see.
The things you cannot see. Um,
The shade contrasts are interesting for sure.
gosh. So what is Sol gonna do here? Okay.
Also, he really hoped what he picked was ripe because he was not sure.
Oh no. With that investigation, you can absolutely tell those were ripe.
Nice.
Did you pick? I don't know if you'd even like pick a few and like try to eat them first, like just a little taste test. But if you did, yeah, those are ripe.
He probably did a little bit. Had bad
So
experiences in gardens.
I do not blame him. Caution is always wise. Um, yeah. Uh, it's almost time. It's almost time for bed. It is. The sun's going down. Um, yeah, it's late, Law. What are you gonna do, man? You've been following this creature essentially all day and afternoon.
Mhm. Laura's just gonna look at Soul, look at the water, look around. He has no idea really where he is. He figured that this would happen. Big sigh, just, well, let's see. I don't know your name, so looks at the sunflower again, thinks, well, you're a sunflower. What about Sunny or something? Like, sunflower, I guess, do you want to be Flower? I guess for now until I can figure out what your name is.
Hmm. Soul turns towards you. And do you want to roll me another deck save?
Oh boy. Okay. I'm more like nervous about my boy. Uh, just like, oh no, what is Soul gonna do? Um, let's see. Deck save is +3. Okay. Uh, I know how things work. It's fine. Okay.
It's fine. You're doing great.
Yep. That's a 23.
You instinctively dodge out of the way because that is a familiar maneuver. You didn't dodge it before. Soul tries to sweep under your legs again, but you step aside and they just kind of like scurry a few feet forward before stopping and then turning around and tilting their head at you, questioning, kind of.
Lord just looks at them and smiles. No, 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 not that time. If you want to take me somewhere, just let me maybe get up on my own. I mean, I don't really have anywhere I need to be right now anyway, so might as well go with you. I mean, doesn't seem like you're malicious, so might as well, right? Uh, I don't really want to call you Plant Horse, so I guess we'll go with Flower.
Soul just tilts their head, almost consideringly to the side, and then they're gonna very slowly crouch down. You are gonna notice that the bend of their roots does go backwards and not forwards. They kind of like bend back and then down on themselves again, until their roots are scrunched up, and they're just looking at you, waiting.
Or sighs like, okay. Doesn't say that, but just make sure that his food is secured and not going to put it in his bag, but kind of tie it to one of the straps because he knows for a fact that it's going to get squished in his bag and he does not want to get things all over his letters. So he hops on to what he is now calling Flower because he has no idea what this thing's name is. But I mean, they're not malicious and he might as well. And just kind of looks at them and like, okay, just nervously, where are we going?
You don't get a response. You do, however, get a as your only warning.
Laura just
For
hugs on very quickly and is like, oh, it says something in a different language that probably isn't appropriate.
yeah, I'm not surprised you do, considering you hear the and then and you guys are off again. You're retracing your steps back. I'm gonna roll for soul again. This
Laura
is
just
to see
has
how.
his eyes closed and holding on desperately.
I think this is one of the lowest rolls that Soul has had today. Oh my gosh. It probably takes you till later at night than you'd be comfortable with to get home. Not get home, but get to wherever Soul is taking you. Because they keep getting distracted. Like every time they see a fountain, they just have to stick a hand fruit in there to take a sippy. And maybe you try to control them along, but they just keep getting distracted by stuff. They see any kind of liquid, they just stick their root in it and drink.
Laura's just gonna
They
laugh because he's like, and mentally he's like, well, I have no idea where we're going anyway, so I guess I'm just along for the ride. Might as well.
I mean, you see them run through the park, and they get distracted with the children, and these kids all run up to you and say, "Oh, you know Soul, Mister? Oh, wow, they're really fun. They're really good. They like play with us all the time. Yeah. And they make like really fun things, and they let us take rides, and they go really fast. But mommy says I can't ride them anymore because they're dangerous. But they're not dangerous. They're just really big and fast." And there's just like a gaggle of kids around you, that were around you, just telling you all about this creature, who you now know their name is Soul.
Laura's just gonna like, as they're doing that, like kind of give scritchies to Soul's neck and just be like, oh, so you're Soul, and smile at the kids like, thanks for letting me know their name.
Oh dear. Oh dear. What's a con save for Soul? Just hear a as you scritch just that one special spot on their neck and they just flop sideways onto the ground.
Oh, I should roll a thing then myself. Oh dear.
Roll a dex save again, I guess. Yeah, you're fine.
That's what he did. Okay, he like dodges out of the way, like, not this time, and is like, why does this happen with everybody I meet? I killed it. Okay. Looks at the kids. They're okay, right?
You want to roll an insight on this, real
Would
quick?
love to.
You were scratching their neck.
Yeah, Laura doesn't know. He's more of like, crap, what I do to the plant.
Oh, gosh.
That's a 5.
You hear some of the kids kind of like giggle and say, "No, no, no, no! You scratched his good. You scratched their good spot. Yeah, they like it when you scratch them here." And they reach over and scratch, and you see their claws, root feet just start to like knead the air, and their back legs start to kick like a dog's legs kick, and their tail just thumps against the ground. And then the kids just climbing all over Soul and just giving them scritches, and it's just you see all the kids' outlines. Some of them are real kind, so they don't have the outlines to shake specifically, but you just see these kids just vibrate on top of Soul as they give them scritches.
Laura's gonna laugh and just be like, okay, like much deeper laugh than I can do. Just a few times, like, and come over and be like, oh, so like this, and big belly scritches like you used to with the dogs.
Oh gosh, you get a leg kicky. You get even more leg kickies. Um, but yeah, I
Yeah.
think I think that's why they rolled. Oh, that's why they rolled
Uh,
a 5 because they're just freaking
this is the best day for them.
look. They're having a good time. They
Yeah.
stole another hat. Now they're getting pets. It's great,
Yeah.
and they made a new friend. It's
Laura,
amazing.
yeah, Laura's seeing that leg kicking, and he's like, "Oh, is this good? Is this good?" And like finds that perfect spot. Just like, "Oh,
They're a
who's a
puddle.
good flower plant?"
They are a puddle on the floor. Um, and they are just happy. They're just happy wiggles. You've got a very happy plant horse, just laying down there, buddy. Um, I will say, after a while, you hear like the children's parents call them away, and they wave you goodbye, tell you to have like fun and to take Soul, or let Soul just take you places because these places are usually very fun, and they're usually like very very good at making sure you're okay and safe, and they won't let you get hurt, mister, they promise. As they walk away. um
Laura, uh, trying to reflect on hoping that Soul knew that they could jump off of roofs.
oh
But
man.
he's also just gonna pick up this plant and give it a big hug and then just like carry it off a little bit because he can. And is like, okay, should I walk
Oh,
or should you?
I mean, did you pick up this? Roll me another insight with advantage, please. um Did you pick up this horse? I presume you're
Hmm.
carrying it like some people carry dogs, which is like on their back and their legs are in the air and they're
Hmm.
like
That's
slightly curled up in your arms.
definitely how he is holding this good plant horse. Also, I'm trying to think of like, I need to look up how tall a oh, what'd you call them? Whatever horse is, and do a height
How tall?
comparison.
They're
I
tall. They're taller than you. Put it
Oh
that
yeah,
way.
definitely
Taller
taller.
than more.
But I'm just like, Laura's probably big enough that this is probably nice. Okay, with advantage. That's a 17.
Yeah, you can immediately tell. Again, you can feel the vibrations of this body going through you. They enjoy. They not only enjoy this, they are like surprised that somebody just lifts them. You get the impression they don't often get to be the one carried. They're usually doing the carrying, considering looking back at all of the times Soul has secondary location someone. But
I'm sorry.
look, their playlist is
I,
called Soul's Secondary Locations for a reason.
oh my
Um,
gosh, I need that playlist when you're done.
I'll send it to you after. Um, but yeah, they're just happy to sit in your arms if you're gonna carry them, and they'll just
Hmm.
like you're just gonna like if you try to go the wrong way, they will point in another direction. Like, their head will just tilt in the direction you need to go.
Yeah, Laura's just gonna do that and give them lots of scritchies because they're like, oh, who's a good flower plant?
They do just happy little wiggles. Just happy little wiggles, and you're like they're not wiggling to get out of your arms, but like their neck is like lulled slowly back until it's like almost brushing the floor, and it's just kind of dangling like a hose, and their legs are just akimbo as well, but their tail is like thump 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 thumping against the side of your arm.
Laura's very happy. He hasn't seen anything like this in a while, and it just he had dogs at home. He is very happy.
I'm glad. Oh no. But yeah, eventually you do make your way. You make your way to an apartment building. Um, yeah, it's just a regular apartment building. And Soul is pointing their head directly inside.
Laura's just like, oh, is this where you live? Do you I can carry you in? Like starts to head
Um,
towards the door, just kind of like, what would you like, Soul?
so Soul points towards the door, but then you see them kind of swiftly snap their head towards an alleyway along the side of the building, and then point to the door, and then point the alleyway, and then point at the door, and then point the alleyway, and they just seem to be very indecisive.
Laura just looks like, oh, we can just like go up the wall if you want.
Lau looks, Lau? No, it's not here. Soul looks at you and just holds their head, and they point their head like back and forward towards the alleyway.
Laura's gonna just look at Soul and smile, just like, okay, we'll do the wall, and just like looks at them. You know how to hold on too, right? And just like switches them to their back.
Oh my gosh. Please
Oh,
roll me a strength save.
oh my gosh, can I have
Because
advantage?
Sol has been drinking lots and lots of liquids
I
on
don't
their way
know.
back as well as at the pond.
Mm, can I roll with advantage? Or I can just straight roll. That's me being
Me
like
straight up
shitty little
first.
person. Like, can I roll with advantage?
So roll straight first and let's see what happens.
Oh, never mind. That's a
And
nat
that
20.
20, so
28.
Dice has said that law's allowed to be strong. Um, you have no issue holding this creature. Like you adjust to
Yeah,
the weight of it easily.
this
Are
is
you climbing the
hilarious.
side of the building? Because there is actually a fire escape available.
So what Laura's gonna do is he holds this plant, makes sure the plant is secure, has his
I'll
arms
say
like
like
under its little leggies, looks
mm,
around for where the fire escape isn't, and then just kind of running start and just jump kicks up the wall again to the top of the roof of the building.
oh my gosh. I will say like lol man, I'm mixing up my words. Soul's like rooty fingers kind of come over the tops of your shoulders and then wind around your waist and they meet in your chest and they lock together like a harness. Um, so they're already kind of like rooted onto you, essentially. You don't have to hold them. Um, yeah. Actually, I should probably roll a strength check just to see how well they do. Where are you at? There you are. No,
Yeah, Laura's got them. We're good.
no, that's fine. You rolled a nat 20, I
They
rolled a
had,
nat 1.
yeah, they had too many
So
scritchies.
they had too many scritchies and they're like sleepy dozy with liquids. They are just head is lolled back. Like their head is lolled back over the back of their back, so it's they're basically just necked. Neck is full and flush along the back as you climb up this jump
He's
along
just
the side of this building.
literally got a flower backpack. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's a great
The
image.
head just swings from side to side to side to side like a pendulum as you go up.
It's just lolling. Laura
Pretty
gets to
much.
the top of the roof and immediately switches Soul back into his arms and gives him scritches like, you did so good, you held on.
You can kind of feel them try to wag their tail, but gosh, that's a sleepy, that's a very sleepy horse you've got.
Laura just like scratching their neck in the right spot again. Oh, you sleepy? Is that where we're going home? Where's your home?
Gosh, gosh, they try to wiggle more, but they just can't. They
Oh,
can't wiggle anymore.
they're wiggling and
Um,
they're like, "Oh, you're so tired. Okay, let's get you home. Where's home, soul?"
uh, I'm gonna roll another strength check here to see if they can do this. That's an 11. It takes a clear amount of effort because their neck was again flush against their back. They just slowly crane their neck back over your shoulder and flop their head against the front of your left shoulder and tilt their head up to the top of the roof.
Laura's gonna look up and just be like, "Okay, that way, I guess, right?" And looks at Soul like, "Oh, okay, it's probably asleep. Okay, well, we're just gonna go this way," and starts going that way.
Okay. You jump kick your way, like parkour master, to the top of the roof. And you get to the top, you jump over the ledge, and there's another big greenhouse there. It's not just a greenhouse. Behind the greenhouse, you see you see something kind of attached to the building on that side. You
Laura's
don't know what
eyes
it
are
is.
just sparkling. He loves the greenhouse.
Gosh. Yeah, yeah. That's what you see, Law. There's something behind the greenhouse, and then there's the big old greenhouse.
Laura's definitely going to check out what's behind the greenhouse because he needs to get the plant horse home because he doesn't know their situation of if like roommate or whatnot, but somebody's probably missing them and he should get them home.
Yeah. So behind the greenhouse, uh, Law probably wouldn't recognize what this is, but for people listening at home, there is one of those window cleaner lifts that go up the side of skyscrapers. Um, that's just sitting like that. One of those carrier baskets is just sitting at the top of the roof. It looks like it can go down. If Law to look down, it goes down like a couple floors. Actually, no, it does seem to go down to the ground level as well. Um, Soul just kind of lolls their head and points twice downwards.
That was my history check. Laura has read about these. um,
Nice.
yeah, he looks at the lift and he's like, "Oh, I guess this is how we get down. All right," and carefully gets them into the I've already forgot the name of it, the contraption, and looks
Contraption
around
works.
and he's like, "Okay, I think this is how we go down." Just like focusing really hard because new thing and remembers enough probably to get them to go down.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say there's like a ruin of some sort. You hover your hand over, and as you do, just like a woo, and it starts to go down. The ruin that you hover your hand over glows a light blue as you start to just drop down. And then as you get to the third floor, um, you see that the third floor, there are very is a very you seem to like dock at balcony. It's a very like it's one of those very thin balconies where you've got like a cage. It's more like a cage than an actual balcony to look out of. Um, this seems to have like a door, kind of like a little gate latch that seems to line up to this this contraption.
Laura just kind of turns around and uses his elbow to get the latch and get Soul in because Soul is just curled up. And Laura's fine with that. He's very happy to be holding this plant horse. And just kind of unlatches it, gets in there. I'm guessing there's some sort of window or door thing to the inside. And he's just going to, like, again, kind of use his elbow to knock.
What you're gonna see is firstly, the door that you're trying to get through, it's one of those slide doors, so you have to pull it aside to actually get in.
Oh, yeah, no,
Um,
Laura knocked first to see if there was anybody inside because he still has manners.
okay, give me a second. I've got to roll something then. Ooh.
Here, you can have advantage. Oh, never mind. You're fine.
Roll again just to see if I get higher than that. No, okay. 21 it is. You hear, well, no, you don't hear anything. It's quiet. And then you hear something. You don't see anything. It is quite dark, but you hear something just kind of rattle the door, and then the door just slides open.
Laura's peeking out from behind the flower horse and just kind of calls out before seeing the full person he assumes who is there, and is just like, "Hi, your, I guess, plant horse soul kind of passed out in my arms. Like they're just sleepy. I gave them scritches. They stole my hat earlier. I guess now we're friends." And just looks down at the person.
I will say, Law, look around. There's no one here.
Laura's
There is.
nervous.
I will say what you see. There is a dresser to your left, like a very small, well, actually a decent sized dresser. There's like 3 drawers and a space on top. Then there's like a little like bedside table, nightstand, with a strange looking plant on it. And then, in like the top left corner from when you come into the room, there's just like what can only be described as a nest on the floor. Like it's a bunch of like moss, and it's not straw, but like blankets and moss and sticks. And I mean, you don't know how comfortable that looks, but it's a nest. That's a nest.
Laura's very much like, "Oh, whatever uses that must be comfy because nests are comfy to the whatever uses them," in his head. And he kind of looks at Soul like, oh, "Is that your nest? Is that your nest?" And gives him scritches again. And then looks at Soul like, do we go inside?"
Or just kind of looks down at the nest and then lazily lolls their head against your shoulders. They look around the room, and then they look to the right, and there is. It's kind of hard to see because again there aren't any lights on in here. You squint, there seems to be the outline of a door.
Laura's gonna step into the apartment area and use his elbow to kind of close the uh, sliding door, and he slips his shoes off because he's nice and he's been walking around in dirt. And steps around looking like, "Hello? Uh, is anyone here? I'm not an intruder. I have your plant horse."
I will say you take off your shoes and you step onto the floor, and oh, uh, the floor feels very soft. Like this carpet is like really, really soft, very plush. Um, it's green, but it's also just no. You can't tell what color it is. Again, I keep forgetting that you're colorblind. I'm very sorry, Law. But
No,
whatever this carpet is, it's very plush and soft against your feet.
it's really funny when you give me color and I can just be like, "Yep, he doesn't know."
I don't know what that is. But yeah, it's just really nice and plush under your feet. Call out again, and I'm just gonna let me see. The door is closed, but you are gonna hear something kind of battle, and then as the door just opens inwards, and again, you don't see anyone.
Laura's gonna kind of softly set. Well, actually, Soul kind of look towards the door, and so Laura's gonna carefully go towards the door and look at Soul like, "Did you live here alone?" Or, and then looks back to the door. "Is anyone there? Hello?"
You're not gonna get an answer. There's no answer. You step through.
He peeks inside the room with still holding Soul.
So you step out of the room and you're in a narrow corridor. There is just about enough room for you in Soul. It's a bit of a squeeze because you're very tall and Soul is very large. Just a little to the left of you on the opposite side of the wall, there's another door. But then further down the hall, again, you have to kind of squint to see anything. But there are two archways, one to the left, one to the right, and then you can't see to the end of the hallway. You can roll a perception if you want to see if you can see the end of the hallway.
Let's see. I can do perception or investigation.
You like. But I will say the archway on the left, there does seem to be light coming from there.
All right.
Um,
Laura's gonna go towards the one that has light and just kind of look at Soul like, are you sure this is the? Are you sure this is the way we go?
Sol just leans their head towards the light, and you can kind of feel them do like a little wiggle against your back.
Laura's gonna give him scritches again and make a joke like, "Oh, is this just because sunflowers like light?"
And Sol's gonna kind of loll their head and just kind of bonk it softly against yours before lolling their head back towards the light.
Laura's just gonna chuckle and mix it. I'm gonna say he makes it to the light.
Okay, you make it to the light and you peer inside this room and ow, dude. You step inside and you realise quite a few things all at once. Firstly, there is it is still an overcast night, so there isn't any light coming in from the room. The light is coming from this room, but it seems to be like just a tall wall of glass on the left, which has at the moment not a great view of Toontown because again there's no lights out, but there are some lights on in Toontown. There's like you can see the lights of Toontown, the activity of Toontown going on in here. Then you look around the room and there are shelves. There are like shelves into the wall. There are desks pretty much bordering the whole room all the way around until it meets the glassed wall on the left. And it's just plants. It's all plants. Like everywhere you look, there are some potted plants that are growing tall, like almost like trees, spread to the left of the room. There are bushes. There's a bush that seems to have been grown into the shape of a couch, or is that a couch that was transmuted into a bush? You can't tell. And then there's just an armchair, like a normal old armchair, facing away from you, and a coffee table. And there are bags of stuff and things and pots and all sorts of gardening materials underneath these shelves and floating desks put into the wall. And there is someone sitting in a chair. They seem to be reading.
Yeah, I rolled a 2 just to see Laura's reaction to this room, and I feel like they take in everything except the person. And so, because
Oh,
they're just kind of frozen a couple steps into the room, just taking it all in, and Laura looks so soft and like this place looks not familiar, but like it's obvious that this boy has like memories that this room is making him think of, as he just kind of looks like not weepy, but like he could maybe choke up, and he just kind of shudders and like, Soul, is this where you live?
Soul doesn't answer. I will also say you were walking barefoot through this house. You didn't notice until you stepped into the light. But there, the texture of this floor isn't like that of a rug. In fact, it kind of looks a little too spongy to be a rug. There seem to be like marks and trails in the floor. For you, Katie, I will tell you. Basically, this floor is a carpet of thick layers of dirt and moss.
Oh,
So,
nice. That makes me
like,
think of
literally
Virginia.
a carpet of moss. It's just, yeah.
I gotta
Um,
show you some things later. Anyway.
but, yeah. Um, and you. I'm gonna roll this for someone. What is this anyway? What's your... Okay, not bad, not fantastic. Um, you're gonna hear the sound of a book smacking together,
Mhm.
and then
Uh,
you're
I
gonna see...
I really quick would like to say I'm guessing that the tracks in the moss are the wheelchair marks.
Uh, actually,
No.
if you look down, it doesn't seem to be, they don't seem to be like tire marks, they seem to be like three, you can only presume there's like three tracks that seem to, there's like an arrow kind of shape, like there's one track that is kind of more so in front of the others, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So you presume whatever made these tracks is probably not a wheelchair.
Yeah, I am gonna
Actually,
just I rolled history for lore with advantage because he has a parrot who's in a wheelchair. So I don't know if he necessarily thinks wheelchair, but I think he's thinking like, oh, assisted device. Still doesn't
so
notice the person.
that's all right. Actually, with the history, you will probably look over the room again, and next to the armchair, there seems to be like a really comfy office chair. You know, the kind with like the really cushy armrests and the ability to like move it up and down
Oh,
and
those are good.
adjust it back.
Like a lazy boy. Yeah.
Um, yeah. Because sitting in a wheelchair in your house all day, not ideal, hard to get around. This person essentially has a much easier chair for them for internal use. It's a modified office chair.
Lord sees that and is like, oh, uh, Soul, you do you live with someone else? And as he trails off, I'm assuming you do your bit.
Yeah. As you trail off, you hear the book snapshot. You see it be placed on a coffee table, rectangular, small in size, not very big. And you hear it, but you don't hear you don't see the tune yet. But you do hear coming towards you. So you've finally decided to return home then, and you're just gonna see one hand rise onto the armchair and just start drumming on the side.
Laura's gonna jump at the book closing, snapping shut, and just wait for them to finish, and then just carefully put Soul down and be like, I found your soul. That sounded weird. I'm sorry. I found your plant horse named Soul. Uh, Sorry for the intrusion. I just wanted to make sure that they got home safe. They were really sleepy.
As you put Soul down, you can kind of see them like you can kind of see them like bob on the floor kind of weirdly, like if you put a water balloon on the floor and it just sort of splodges out and then back again, out and then back again. You just do like a noise before it very slowly reaches out its hands and just starts to drag itself towards
Lore,
the
Lore sees that and is like, oh, no, 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 and just picks up Soul again, just like, okay, okay, and just like, deep breath, just decides to not confront the person, but just like, okay, we're just gonna meet the stranger that I barged into their house. Like, doesn't say that, but just carries Soul so that the person can see that they're holding their plant horse and they mean no harm.
okay. You immediately, well, no, you come around to the side of this armchair and you see you see a toon sitting in the armchair. Um, they have a blanket covering their lap, and it's kind of weird. They seem to not have any details. They appear to just be an outline. That they have an outline. They have three like long curls coming out the back of their head. They're bird shaped, and there's not a lot of detail going on. They have a beak. They have eyes with sharper corners. Uh, and. that is literally all you can get. Their bottom half is completely covered.
Lord just kind of looks at them, gives a smile, but then his eyes are distracted by the blanket, and I don't know how Lau feels about this, but he kind of, despite himself, looks fondly at the fact that there's some sort of wheelchair contraption or somebody else who's using a wheelchair that he's met.
Roll. Ooh, okay. You see this
Bully my
toon's eyes
child.
narrow. You see this toon's eyes narrow, and then he looks at the sofa behind you, and he takes a deep breath and sighs. Because I appreciate you bringing them back home, but they do tend to make their own way as and when they need be. Well, and I assume you didn't pick them up, and much rather they picked you up. And he just kind of nods his head towards the sofa and tells you, put them on the sofa. They'll probably take a nap from the looks of it.
Lord just chuckles at the point that they said they were picked up by Soul, and Soul just like, yeah, sorry for the intrusion again. I'll put them down, but yeah, it's in my backpack now, so they didn't snatch it again. But I had a hat. They seem to really like head coverings, and Lord just sets down Soul on the couch, but like gives him lots of tummy rubs first, and just like, oh, it's you, Soul. It was so nice to meet you. Just so many scritches.
You see like a vague kind of wiggly outline and like a half-assed effort to like wiggle before they just kind of drop their neck over the side of the sofa. Just head is gone. It's only neck and body and roots dripped onto the floor. And you will see as you've put them down, this side of the sofa you put them on seems to have like a divot. From like it seems like just a depression. You know when you sit in a sofa for long enough and it gets a depression of where you sat.
It's a soul
That
depression.
yes, it's a soul depression.
Oh gosh, that's hilarious. Laura's definitely gonna just be like, "Oh, are you sleepy? You drank so much water on the way here," and just more scritches. Like, "Oh, you're passed out, aren't you?" That's so much affection.
Okay. Lau reaches up a hand and just covers his beak for just a moment, takes a breath, and pulls his hand away and says, yes, Soul seems to have a habit of taking hats. I'm not quite sure why. And he gives Soul a look, which Soul completely ignores because they're getting scritches and they are very, very comfortable and very, very sleepy. We'll turn it back towards
Laura's
you and
definitely giving them scritches as the person talks to them.
kind of quirks a non-existent brow at you and just gestures for you to sit on the other side of the sofa next to Sol and says, well, and as for the
Oh,
what's
Lord
that
does
second
Lord does not
sentence?
sit down. He's just standing over Soul giving scritches.
If you don't sit down, Nell's just gonna kind of work his head to the side and his eyes are gonna narrow and he's just gonna say, I appreciate the apology for intruding, but if you'd like to and he just clears his throat and points pointedly at the other side of the sofa.
Lord kind of, oh, 1 second.
Okay.
Let's see, really quick. Oh, Laura does understand what he means. Laura's like, oh, are you, Laura kind of bites his lip and then shakes it off and is like, I mean, if you're okay with it, I know we just met, but I'm harmless, I assure you.
Lau just Lau just rolls his eyes, and you can roll insight if you want, but he just
Yes.
coughs and rolls his eyes and says, "This is barely, and I'm sure it's not going to be the last time either. Soul's brought people home before of their own volition. This won't be the first time, and I very much doubt it's going to be the last. And with a
Mhm.
16, when you gosh, my brain is not working. What did you just say? Brain, you had it and it's gone. Um, could you repeat your last sentence for me, please? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, Laura's basically saying he's harmless, and
There we go.
yeah.
Okay, that's it. Thank you. You can tell, you didn't see it earlier because you're busy scratching soul, but you can tell when you say that you're harmless, you can see him, see a slightly sardonic look appear on his face, briefly, before he just shakes it off and leans back in his armchair, hand resting on top of the book, and looks you dead in the eye and says, "Oh, I am used to people saying they're harmless and such, but I feel that that's not something that's not something you can just say, really. You can be harmless, perhaps, or you might not. I don't know. That's not exactly for you to judge here."
Laura's gonna stop the scritches and kind of cross his arms and lean back in thought and just kind of look up and be like, you know what? That's fair. You don't know me from Adam. Why would you think I'm harmless? That, and I did carry a giant plant horse up here by wall kicking up to the roof. So maybe not completely harmless, but I mean, you know harm.
Now just blink, blink, and with that 16, you can tell that he is slightly surprised by that, but you also get the impression that he's annoyed at himself for being surprised by that. He just slowly shakes his head and says, "I shouldn't be surprised by people doing strange things here, but apparently I still. Oh well, either way, yes. Again, I appreciate you bringing them back. I don't actually have," and he seems to be looking around for something.
Laura kind of shakes his hands like, if you're talking about like pillows or blankets, I got some in my backpack, and honestly, I'll probably just sit on the couch with Soul. He laughs.
Tilts his head at you, kind of confused, and he's like, "No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't talking about blankets. I was. Just, right, give me a moment." And he is gonna roll this. You're gonna see him reach under the blanket, and you're gonna see him pull out a stick of some sort. And then I've got to roll this. Actually, you would probably recognise this as a walking cane. Um, oh boy, that'd be a save. Yep. Nat 20 on this? Alright, okay. He gets up, no issue, makes his way slowly over towards the chair that's next to him, and he pivots himself down into the office chair, unhooks the brake because he's not dumb enough to leave that free floating, and then he pushes himself along with the walking stick, kind of like you're canoeing, before reaching out to the archway and holding onto something, before looking back at you and saying, "Did you want some tea? Just as a big thank you, I suppose."
I'm not gonna say no to tea. I love tea. My name's Lore, by the way. Lorem Quire Parif. Lore's gonna not quickly, but like kind of like shuffle up and offer out a hand and be like, it's nice to meet you.
Now looks down at the hand and then slowly looks up at Law and takes a deep breath,
Lore's
exhales.
Yeah, Lore's body language is very much that of like not a nervous child, but like a very polite young boy.
Oh, what a polite young man. Lau's gonna reach out and just almost not hesitantly, but just slowly reach out and grip Law's hand and then just very briefly shake it. Law, you actually notice when you get that handshake that this guy's hand is soft, but not soft as in like, oh, you moisturize. It's more in that the actual outline of his hand feels malleable in some way. Um, you don't have a lot of time to process that before he pulls it away, turns around, reaches against the wall for something, and then somehow pulls himself along into the opposite archway from the living room and saying, "Oh, it's good to hear that someone else likes tea as well. What's what exactly is your brew of choice then?"
Yeah, really quick, Laura managed to, I think, hide the fact that he was concerned about this man's hand with a 17, I hope.
Lau's not paying attention. He's looking for tea, so you're
Yeah.
fine.
Laura's also confused at how he's pulling himself along and kind of like waves his hand where he pulled.
You can roll investigation if you want.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Come on, my boy. Be brave. That's a 12.
It's kind of hard to tell. Again, it's hard to see, but there seems to be something on the wall that he's gripping, but you can't see anything when his hand pulls away. There's nothing sticking out that you can see.
Laura's just, as he's doing that, be like, oh, I'm okay with anything, but if you have, do you have chicory?
Roll a history for him. Does he have chicory?
It could also be like chicory's not common, but
Oh, he's got chicory. He nods his head sharply once and says, "Yes, I think I actually made some of that a couple of days ago. Let me just..." And he's gonna go into, we presume, it's a cupboard.
Mhm.
Um,
Laura perks
he's
up
gonna
so much, by the way. Like, he hasn't had chicory tea since he left home.
he pulls out, he actually peers into his cupboard and you hear like a sounds of something rattling, like you know those rotating spice racks. He's basically got something like that, but for tea in there. He's just going cinnamon, cardamom, star anise, no, it's too far. There we go. And he pulls out chicory, and he pops that on the side, and it's just like a little box of chicory tea.
Laura's
Then he pulls
eyes
out.
are very sparkly in admiration of his organization.
Um, you're also going to see him reach over to one of the counters. I didn't describe this room to you. So basically, this room, the dead center of the room, is a large wooden coffee table. No, large wooden dining table. Four chairs at each end. On the left, there is a small circular window with little curtains and like one of those wooden crosses going across the wood. And then there's a counter that goes all the way around from the bottom left of the room, bottom left corner, goes all the way around, stops just short, halfway at the other end of the room. And then there's like a cupboard, like another door near the bottom, near the far right of the room. Um, Anyhow, Lao reaches over. There's also floating cabinets where the window stops and then carries around that follows the rest of the counter. Lao reaches out and he twists his hand underneath these cabinets,
Mm-hmm.
and as he does so, you see lights pop on from underneath the cabinets. Um, and he just nods his head and then he pulls out a kettle from the cupboards, pops that down. He pulls out a steel, well, not steel, it's like one of those little tripod metal things. And he pulls that out and sticks that on the countertop. Fills that up with water and just makes tea, essentially. And I'm gonna roll.
Really
roll
quick,
something here.
did Lau just shake this boy's hand and not say his name?
Oh god, he did, didn't he?
Yeah,
Um,
Laura's just standing there, like, not sure how to, like, address this man. Laura,
uh,
here. Laura's just gonna be like, sir, is it okay to know your name?
Lau pauses and turns back towards you. And I'm gonna roll one of these. Why are you getting that 20s on these? I don't understand. He looks at you just like very calm, very deadpan, and says, yes, well, I was waiting until we sat down with tea before I did this, but my name is Lau. Lau Viz Blind. I can't say it's a pleasure yet because I don't know you, but it's certainly going to be interesting, I'm sure. And he finishes pouring the tea, holds out the mug for you to take.
Uh-huh.
Um,
I have
and
I have a question. Is that
yeah.
name indicative of where Lao is from?
Hmm.
Because I rolled a 22 on
No.
history. Okay.
But with that history, I can give you something. So
Grab your hand.
there. So interesting thing. You have you ever lived in Faruma, or have you mostly lived in Einquell?
Oh, Lore is not from Einquell at all.
Oh, right. So it's Ordinal
He's
Point is in Faruma then,
no,
or it
Ordinal
was right.
Point. Nobody knows where Ordinal Point is. Not even,
Ah,
and
okay.
Lore cannot remember where it is because of the curse.
Oh, okie
I can
dokie.
give you more information later, but it's okay. It's a country. Basically, I will let you roll for this later, or potentially Lore's pamphlet.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay, I'll remember that. But I'll say that you know this from probably your wandering around
yeah.
Einquell. You've
Well,
probably looked
that
at some.
and Laura reads a lot of books, and he
Yes.
doesn't know a lot about Einquell, but anything he can read in Einquell, he does.
Oh, actually, there is something that you might have picked up recently that would have clued you into something like this. Because the name blind does ring a bell, but specifically it rings a bell of. You remember that really old tattered book you picked up from that shop a
Uh,
little while ago?
the
One about
the
old cases, laws and such?
oh, the cold cases, yeah, yeah. I know that one. I thought
So,
you were talking about the grimoire for a minute.
no. Um, so that book was mostly like murders and such, but there were like a few notorious other criminals in there. One of which was called Rabia Blind. Um, Nobody knows, but everyone knows the name Rabia Blind. This individual has
Mhm.
kind of been in and out of Einquell over the years, at least for the past 10 years. There's rumours that they've been here longer, but there's no actual, like, factual evidence there, or that the crimes they're being accused of were, in fact, Rabia Blind. But Rabia Blind is basically a Robin Hood kind of figure, a thief who takes money from people and basically gives them to charities and like fundraisers and basically distributes wealth to where it's needed and does so in a way that if the wealthy or inherited party would try to take that money back, they would be socially outcast. And let's just say socially outcast is probably the best thing that would happen if they tried to take that money back. Um, and yeah, another little detail, nobody knows what this person looks like. Some people think they're an orc, some people would just state their life on them being an elf, some people have said they're a centaur. Nobody knows what this person looks like, but everyone knows, well, at least everyone who's concerned about this, knows the name Rabia Blind.
Laura, ooh, should I? No, I don't think he would try to hide this. He'd perk up at the last name blind, like he remembered something, but not say anything, and just go into like, oh, so like maybe he kind of like unintentionally hides it in his just happy demeanor, just like, oh, it's very nice to meet you. Sorry for he just laughs and like very happily rubs the back of his head. Sorry for jumping the gun on that, but thank you for the tea.
He just nods his head, cuddly, and flicks his head back towards the living room. He's like, yes, well, it's. You brought Soul back whilst they were liquid drunk, and you just hear like a thump, thump, thump coming from the sofa as Sol's head just kind of droops backwards and forwards and bumps against the side of the sofa as they're lolling about. And Lau continues on saying, in that particular state, I don't actually think they would have been able to get themselves home. But it's not often they don't manage to get themselves home, but it has happened once or twice.
Laura kind of laughs, like chuckles to himself really happily. Do you want? It's time for me to make you roll. You roll insight or something for Lau to get a vibe on Lore.
20. What do we
20.
got?
Yeah, it's very obvious that like this boy is probably legitimately a boy. He's probably 18, around there. Despite being big, he's really young, uh, but old enough to probably be wandering around. So not too much concern there probably, but he is a very young adult, if not just older teen. But uh, it's obvious that this boy is just genuinely very open and probably really doesn't mean anything malicious. Uh, but again, Lau is probably on guard, but the vibe is, oh, he's not dumb, but this kid is kind of dumb. Just because,
Oh,
oh, he's not worried at all in a stranger's home. um,
well,
yeah, so Laura just kind of chuckles and wanders back over to Saul's head and kind of sits cross-legged at the end of the couch and starts giving more scritches and be like, it didn't help that we ran into the kids at the park and they gave him so many scritches first. He kind of died after that, and by that I mean just kind of flopped over and gave up. Laura laughs.
Lau lifts up. Lau has basically made his way back in, and he has moved him. Actually, I'll roll another strength here. Let's see what goes on. He's a little wobbly getting back to the chair, but that's simply because he's holding a mug and trying to move with his cane at the same time. He seems to he does seem to struggle a little bit. And you can roll me a quick perception if you want.
Mm-hmm. That's a 10.
You see that he's struggling, that's about it. And yeah, he flops back into his armchair. Somehow he does not spill a drop of his tea. And he sticks his beak into it and just sips and is like, yes, Soul does have a certain fondness for children that tends to get them into trouble, especially when they try to take them out of school. And he, again, glares at Soul. The amount of times I've had letters come through my door asking me to control my creature and stop having them be taken to secondary locations, and you are a child abductor and your creature is just simply you know, and he just kind of vaguely gestures with his mug, takes another sip. Soul likes children, they don't mean them any harm, but most parents and authority figures don't see it that way when their child goes missing for more than an hour.
Laura kind of gives the big sunflower head a hug and kind of like buries his face into the face of it and gives Soul more scritches and just kind of says to Soul, "Oh, Soul, you gotta be careful. You just gotta return quickly, okay? Or stay in the area, and then you can still have fun." And then looks back at Lau and is like, "Yeah, sorry. They seem to really, they really like to have fun. You they don't necessarily seem like yours though. They kind of seem to do whatever they want."
Loudest. Yes, well, you seem to rather have captured the essence of them there. They are very much a free spirited sort of creature. I mean, you can ask Soul to do a thing. Well, anything. And they might do it, or they might not. Sometimes they listen to me, but for the most part, they do what they want. They are their own thing, and he like, just shrugs, takes another sip. They are certainly, they're certainly a bit of a wild creature, and they're not exactly used to not being allowed to run around free and do as they please.
Yeah, so Laura's gonna stand up and get his mug of tea and come over and sit and just kind of nod. Yeah, he didn't seem too keen on returning my hat at all. Uh, but I really needed it back. It was a gift. And Laura just kind of looks fondly into his teacup. Uh, yeah. Um, is it okay to ask how you met? Did he kidnap you too?
Lau blinks a couple of times, and he says, to answer the first part of your statement, you're not the first person wearing a hat that Sol's decided they took a fancy to. And looks back a bit. He looks like he tilts his head back and cocks it to the side, and one of the curls in the back of his head just ding ding twitches, and you hear him mutter, "After all, that is how I met one of my current employees, and I suppose hatted people seem to really draw soul in. I don't know what it is about hats that draw soul in, but they do seem to like them quite a bit." And you see his soul just give a sleepy little wiggle on the sofa. Before they turn back to you and saying, as for how we met, well, he says this with no little amount of pride, by the way. He's very, very proud of this as he says it. Well, if I'm to be believed, I grew them.
Laura's eyes are so starry. Like, you can roll perception if you want. Like, let me, or investigation, but it is so obvious that this boy is now entranced at the prospect of that they grew soul. Yeah, no, it is like blatantly obvious. Like, he's leaning forward, eyes sparkling. If it could be literal, it would be. I mean, Lau knows this boy is obviously real kind human, despite the purple eyes, which he takes note of is rather strange. Um, and his eyes sparkle before he catches himself, and he's like, "You grew them? That's a before I sorry, I would love to ask more questions about that, but does Soul really love hats that much?"
Well, and kind of cocks his head from side to side and swivels his hand in the air like seesaw motion. It's, I mean, as far as I know, they've only really taken one person's hat, and again, that person is now my employee. If they've taken other hats, well, I'm not actually too sure if they have, but I get the sneaking suspicion, and he just darts eyes over at Sol, that if they do find more hatted people, they are, well, they are in risk or in danger of losing their hats. I don't know how many people have lost their hats to them. I don't know if they're storing them in a hammer space. I don't know if they've got a stash of them somewhere. But hatted people do seem to rather attract them. I don't know why, it just is.
Laura seems to look down and think seriously for a minute before looking at Soul, setting his teacup down and getting in his hat back out of his backpack and kind of setting it on Soul.
I'm going to do this at disadvantage. Sol is
Yeah.
going to very lazily tilt their head. The
Uh,
hat's going to slide off just a little bit, and
Laura's gonna
Sol's
be
going
like,
to reach up
yeah. Laura's
with their
like,
fingers.
Laura is just like, you can have it, buddy. I think you're gonna enjoy it more than me.
Uh, Sol kind of leans back and tries to look at the hat, and it just slides off onto their back. And they just loll their head, they crane their neck. Like, if this, you can probably tell that this is a creature without bones, because the way they bend their neck is like one of those rubber posable toys you get. It just bends backwards, over their neck bends over their neck essentially to look at the hat. And then I'm gonna roll one of these. They're going to try and do what they didn't do earlier. Okay, for this particular thing, they don't seem to be able to do it very well today. They
You can
try
just
to
have
reach
them
out
do
and
it. It's
like
an
you see them.
FPS.
True, that is true.
Do it,
Um,
do it.
you see them poking at the hat, like turning it this way and that way, and looking it all around, and then you see them like poke one of their roots through the hat, and Lao turns back towards Law and says, "Are you certain you want to give it up? I mean, you did just chase them. Did just actually. I believe you ran after them because they took your hat, correct? You just want to give it up."
Laura has been just staring fondly at where Soul has been kind of looking his hat over. And he's just going to shrug his shoulders and look back at Lao and be like, well, I mean, yeah, I chased them, but I didn't know them yet, and now we're friends, so, I mean, I'll let them have it. I let them have it. It's, I mean, I like the hat, but it's not as important as, having a friend, so I'd rather them be happy.
Roll me an insight on Lao.
Yeah, sure. Laura means
And
this
what
very honestly.
you know, whilst that's going on, Sol
That's a
has
6.
basically there. You see a look come across Lao's face. You can't identify what that look is, but it's definitely a look. Um, and you will see, like out of the corner of your eye, it might be that's distracted you. Sol is weaving one of the roots of their hands between like the weave of the hand. You don't quite know how they're doing it until there's a weave of like throughout the whole circumference of the hat. There is just root. There's like a ring of root around the hat. Um, and then they sort of loop their hand around the end of it, tighten it, and then you just hear all popping, like, and my mic picked up none of those pops. That is annoying. Okay.
I'll give you
I
my
might use your
audio.
recording because you're actually picking up
Hmm.
you're actually picking up my audio. But yeah, you hear that, and around the rim of the hat uh, grows a bunch of daisies, little white daisies, and on the side of the hat, you do also see a little blue flower kind of pop up. Um, let me just check which one this is, because I looked it up earlier, but I don't remember what it was.
Ooh, blue flowers. I mean, chicory's blue, if that's what you're thinking of.
Oh yeah, there we go. Um, yeah, if you look over it, you recognise what that is. Like interwoven in alternating red and blue pattern. Not that you can tell. You can see the hue, but you can't tell what that hue is. Um,
Hmm.
probably do recognise chicory though, right?
Oh, yeah, Laura would recognize chicory. It's got a really distinctive flower shape anyway.
So yeah, you now have chicory in your hat, and Sol kind of lifts it up and turns it this way and that way and upside down and right way up and all sorts of different ways. Um, for looking back at you and just handing over the hat towards you, Law.
You don't want to keep it?
Sol just slowly shakes their head, and now you hear Lao go, "Well, I'm not incredibly surprised that they've given the hat back, considering, well, the last person I met who had their hat stolen, they did almost the exact same thing."
Laura's gonna take it back with a really soft, nostalgic smile and look back at Soul and say, "Thank you. I love the flowers. They're chicory, right?" And just kind of happily put it back on.
Um, Sol just gives you like a sleepy wave before flopping back onto the sofa, and Lao will actually say, "Yes, I believe that is actually chicory, and, well, daisies. Sol tends to give out daisies quite frequently to people they consider friends, and Val seems to like shift in his chair a little bit at that, which creaks a little. Um,
Yeah.
and he's just
Laura's gonna give
yeah.
Soul a few more fond scritches and smile real soft, but he did catch that Lau was uncomfortable at the mention of friends, and just think for a second and be like, is it okay to know who the last person was? Or let me rephrase that, sir. You said that you hired them. What kind of company or business do you own?
Mm. Let me just roll something quickly. You should know your modifiers by now, but I remember that I changed them when his. At least it's not a 20. You can try and roll insight on that if you want.
I
Um,
can try.
Lau will say, well, I'm not. Oh, damn!
Yes!
Damn, Law,
Finally!
yeah. Yes. Okay, so Law, it's almost hard to tell, but you do see three curls on the back of his head just kind of twitch, and then start to like curl tightly to the back of his head. And then he seems to wince, like one of his eyes just twitches down in a wince before he shakes his head. And the curls return back to normal. He looks like he was, I don't know, he looked like he was thinking about something. And he shakes his head and says, "Actually, I don't own the business, and it's not a business per se. It's what you would call
Oh, really quick, before
it's
he finishes, Laura's gonna say, is it a charity?
it's not a charity. It's 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 a farm of one of my pauses, and there's it was it is the farm of one of my friends. They aren't able to look after it right now, but I am taking care of it in their stead.
Laura kind of thinks for a second and then nods, and he's like, thank you for telling me. Why do you seem so uncomfortable talking?
Um, Al just scoffs and rolls his eyes and says, "Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's because a completely random stranger comes into my house and brings home. Admittedly, yes, you did bring home Soul, but that doesn't make you trustworthy. It just means you've won Soul's trust." And you suddenly see slight openness. He seemed to slightly opening up, clams right back up, and he sits back in his chair and he glares at you, Law. A complete
Ooh,
stranger
really
comes.
quick. Oh, no, I'll let you finish.
A complete stranger comes into my house carrying Soul, and on one hand, maybe you are genuinely, actually, very much a nice and good person, but I can't trust you just because you do one nice thing. That's how scammers work. That's how people. I'm not stupid. I know what I'm doing. And quite frankly, you asking all these personal questions after we've just met is. It seems a little suspicious.
Laura's gonna actually smile and close his eyes, and he takes his tea and he crosses his legs on the couch and leans back and just laughs, like, and then goes, I mean, that's fair. I am a stranger. Sorry, I thought I was making normal conversation. If you don't want me to ask a question about something, all you have to do is tell me. But Lord taps his nose. If you know any way to make me tell the truth or anything, I am basically an open book. I mean, I do love books.
Lau tilts his head to the side and squints and says, "So if I were to cast something, do something that would compel you to tell the truth, you would be all right with that.
Lore shrugs, and he's like, "Yeah, I mean, I literally have nothing to hide. You can ask me whatever you like. I'll just, I'll just accept the whatever spell you do. That's how it works, right? I'm still getting used to magic."
Um, Somehow Lao looks even more suspicious as you say that, but he does quick nod
Lore looks
and
at that and just gives a very playful smile, like, "I don't mean to be rude, but it's funny that you're obviously good at business by being on your, being aware. But is it bad if I'm excited to be a genuine person you meet?"
did you say he's good at business?
Uh, Lore kind of be like, "It makes sense that you probably are good at business because he's so skeptical."
Al kind of scoffs and rolls his eyes and then says, I would never stoop to levels of being a business person of any sort. Now, it's going to take a few minutes, but if you just sit right there, and he is. It's going to take about 10 minutes.
Lore's
He's
gonna
going to.
make a point of giving a thumbs up and taking off his backpack, and he's like, "Really quick, I'm gonna put this over there so you don't think I'm using anything, and then I'm gonna come back." And he sits down, and he's like, "Look, it's not like I'm trying to make you trust me. It's more of like I want you to feel comfortable with the fact I'm in your home."
I was just going to. and just kind of squint at that. And he's going to. Yeah, he's going to cast Zone of Truth. It takes about 10 minutes to
Yeah.
do.
Lore automatically fails as he's just sitting quietly sipping his tea.
Cool. So that is only a 15-foot cube. So he's done it in such a way that actually, you know what? You can roll me Insight or Arcana on this.
Oh, I have decent arcana, so
Ooh.
Lore has the sage background.
Hee.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, he's a +5 to arcana. Um,
Nice.
so hopefully this boy knows what's up, but either way, it's gonna be funny. That's a 12.
You think there's something about what Lau's done with the Zone of Truth that's a bit weird, but you can't tell what. At least it's. I mean, you don't have any magic, so you can't actually tell what's what. But I don't know.
That seems
It's just a
different.
hunch.
Yeah. Lore perks up and he's like, "That's an interesting way to cast a spell. What'd you do different?"
Lau's gonna look at you and he's going to wave a hand, saying, "Never mind about that. It doesn't matter." Now,
Fair enough.
so tell me exactly. I suppose a few basics. Who are you and where have you come from?
Lore, Zone of Truth compels you to tell the truth, right?
Let's have a look.
Yeah.
You can speak a deliberate lie whilst in the radius, you know, right, can avoid answering questions. You can be evasive with your answers so long as it remains within the boundaries of the truth.
Awesome. Laura's not gonna do that, but I was just wanting to double check because ooh, one of them's gonna be an interesting answer. Laura's gonna immediately go to talk, and he knows that something's going on because while he's telling the truth, he definitely can feel like, oh yeah, no, I'm telling the truth. And he's like, Lorem Choir Parif, you can call me Lore. I'm from, and he seems to think hard for a minute as the spell kind of feels funny, and he's like, I'm from Ordinal Point, and I know this sounds weird, but I don't know where it is. I'm uh, I'm cursed to be lost, which is kind of why I'm in this situation. I have a pamphlet if you're interested, because this seems to come up a lot.
Okay. Roll something quickly.
Yeah.
I'll roll a history for now.
Laura's also
See
going
if
to
you
throw
know.
in the fact that my family are printers, so the pamphlet isn't weird. And he just smiles awkwardly and rubs the back of his neck.
the history, basically the history of Ordinal Point and of the printers, I would assume Ordinal Point isn't exactly a common place to know about with a
Oh yeah.
10.
Here, given you can roll with advantage given the fact that this person has a love of books.
Okay.
Not any better.
Well,
But Lau probably, yeah. But Lau
look, I know
probably,
why he doesn't know this is
mm,
because he spends most of his time reading books about plants
mhm.
and mythical lore and religion on occasion.
Oh yeah,
Things like geography are not something he's interested
yeah.
in.
Well, he's probably going to recognize the name Parif Presses, at least the name Parif, and maybe probably connect the dots that, oh, hey, this kid's probably related to that. They work on a lot of books and work under a lot of companies that make books. I didn't realize, like, not realizing it was from a place called Ordinal Point and has no idea where that is.
Okay. She's just
Because,
gonna nod and say,
yeah.
"Yeah, it's a lost place." Shrug. And I'll just nod and said, "Right. So, you're cursed to be lost. Who cursed you?"
Or holds out a one moment finger and goes back to his backpack and digs out his stupid little pamphlet he's made. It's actually quite cute and very well done. He has proficiency in calligraphy. Uh, and he walks back and he hands it to Lau and then actually pulls it back and he's like, actually, I could just read this off to you if you wanted so you know I'm not lying. But I have no idea who cursed me. And neither does my family.
Okay. Well, thing of Lau is he's quite a bit arrogant in himself, so he's just gonna nod
Mm-hmm.
his head and be, right, you don't know who cursed you. Do you know why they cursed you?
Lord's gonna be just smiling and shrug his shoulders like, nope, because he knows that this guy is being really on guard, and Lord's having a little bit of fun with the fact that he has nothing to hide, but this guy's so skeptical, and he feels like that is just hilarious because literally, Laura cannot think of a single other person who means no harm than himself, and he just thinks that's hilarious.
I roll insight to see if Lau sees you just being a little shit.
Yeah, Laura, this is like Laura's one moment to be a little shit. Like, he's
22.
gonna take that arrogance and just not necessarily throw it back at him, but just be like, deflect, lol.
Mm, that's a 22. Lau,
Oh, he totally knows that Laura's being a little shit.
gonna roll me. Actually, no, you don't have to roll me. It's quite clear. Lau seems to just. His outline was like smooth before, but then you see it kind of ripple, and you see small points start to come out of his outline that goes all the way through his curls, like around his head, across his beak, across his hands and four claw fingers. It
Mm-hmm.
it it crawls as he looks
Laura,
at you.
oh, is he gonna say something or can Laura say something first?
You can say something first.
Laura literally puts a hand on a hip and kind of cocks it and leans back and he's like, I know you're upset with the fact that I'm probably, says an elvish word that's basically like shit. Uh, but
Lau twitches at the Elvish word.
Laura raises another eyebrow. But I would just like to point out that this is your one opportunity to double check that somebody's completely safe, and I find it really funny that you're. I'm. I'm so sorry, sir, but I literally have nothing to hide, and I just find that funny that of all people I met you.
Lau glares at Law, and the
Laura just smiles very
spikes,
genuinely.
little spikes that were growing out before, they get larger, and now he looks he looks serrated. His whole outline looks like a serrated sword's edge as he looks at you, and he clenches his fingers together and he looks at you, Law, and says, "The issue with Zone of Truth in this particular case is that Sometimes, sometimes it will make you tell the truth. Sometimes it will make you tell the truth that you believe is true. And quite frankly, I don't believe that no one has anything to hide. Everyone has something to hide. And he leans forward and braces his arms on the blanket and just looks at you, Law, and says, I don't know what it is you're hiding. Maybe you don't know what it is you're hiding. But everyone has something. And he's going to lean back in his chair and then pause, just release a sigh, and his outline is going to go from spiky to flat again.
Really quick before he has time to do anything else, Laura's been relaxed this entire time, and he's just gonna softly speak and hand over the pamphlet saying, look, even if I'm not aware of what I'm hiding, that doesn't mean I'm doing it on purpose. And it'd just be good to know more people here. I'm not from this country or this continent.
Now we'll kind of look at the pamphlet and the beak will twitch a bit.
Really quick, the information is basically like his curse and what he knows about it. The fact that his eyes were from an accident when he was younger with enchanted ink. The fact that sometimes they can cause people to be afraid. And the fact that just other little things like that. Just like very open and frank.
You want to roll me a quick insight? Because Lau will begrudgingly take that pamphlet.
Laura's just going to also very happily be like, when you're done with it, I would love it back. I only got the one.
I'm going to roll a quick hand of space for now then. Okay. You got an 11.
Yeah, that was on
Lau
insight.
is looking over the pamphlet. He reaches under his blanket and he takes out like a sheet of paper. And you see, he doesn't take out anything to write with. He just rests one of his fingers on the piece of paper and he starts writing with his finger, and there is something coming out of it. Sorry, give me just a second. I just need to check something.
You're good. Maybe I should just do elevator music here. Dude's gotta take care of their pet. Ba-doop. Whoever's listening to this, if anybody ever listens to this, hello! Hope you're doing good. Hope you have a good day. All those cheery things.
Back. Sorry about that. Also
you're
for people
fine.
recording, I'm very sorry. My dogs needed something too.
You're fine,
But
dude.
anyway, what was I saying?
I think Lau's copying the pamphlet.
he's copying the pamphlet, but he's not using a writing tool, he's using his finger. You see, as he's writing with his finger, his outline starts to thin more and more and more as you're writing it down and copying down the contents. And you also see, actually, with an 11, you probably don't see this. You see his curls twitch every now and then, but other than that, once he's finished copying down what he's got, he checks the pamphlet, checks his information, checks the pamphlet, hands the pamphlet back to you, and then shoves that notebook back into his hammer space. And now one of his fingers is thinner in outline than the rest of him. As he leans back, and
As he leans back, Laura quickly reads off the pamphlet and then looks at Lau before putting it back in his backpack, just to prove that he's not lying about what's in it. And goes back to sit down and then looks at his hand, looks up. I won't ask you about it, but I hope your finger's okay.
Lau just scoffs and rolls his eyes and waves his hand away, and he says, well, my outline is of charcoal. I find it tends to be a lot easier to just use what you've got. And he wiggles a hand, than getting the effort to actually go and get an ink and quill or pencil of some sort. It's why do that when you can literally just do this? He waves his hand in the air.
Laura nods and is like, yeah, no, if I could do that, I would.
Gosh, I was just gonna kind of sigh and lean back in his chair.
Laura's literally just leaning back on the edge of the couch, the back of the couch, with his head resting against his fist, just really casual and open, and just kind of waiting for whatever Lau wants to ask him, because Laura's literally just in his mind, he has nothing to hide. It also specified a bullet point in the pamphlet to if they had further questions about the ink situation that they could just ask Laura.
Okay. So I was just gonna tilt his head again at Law and say, so the ink in question, was it toon ink?
Laura sighs and he's like, I'm beginning to think so, but I don't know. I just know that my father was very angry with whoever gave it to us, and then he disappeared afterwards. We could tell that it was not of his own volition, and all of our records went with him. So that would probably make sense, and the idea that it would be toon ink in my eyes is very unsettling.
Now just gives a quick jerky nod and says, I can imagine that would be upsetting. However, if you want to find a way to get rid of this, and gestures at all of you and says, if you want to find a way to get rid of all this, then you need to know exactly you need to know as much information as you can. And I know you've only got that, and he kind of gestures at the pamphlet, says, however, you're going to need more than that. You're going to need more than what you've got to get rid of what you have.
Blor kind of smiles and he's like, well, I've met a couple people who might be able to help, and they volunteered to help, and as far as I can tell, they're good people. But if you're offering help, I'm never going to say no.
Lau just kind of rolls his eyes, looks away, says, I'm not offering my help. I'm interested in this in a purely medicine way.
Blor smiles academic sense, of course, kind of teasing his accent. And then he's just like, that's totally fine. I mean, help is help, whether it's academic or not.
Lau just kind of his beak just kind of wrinkles very slightly before he shakes that out. It's just, I am currently dealing with two other people who are having very particular issues. I am unsure that I'm. First of all, I'm not offering you help. I'm just telling you what you should be doing. I took those notes simply because I want to, for my own personal. I took them because I wanted to.
Laura's just like, I mean, it makes sense to keep information on a stranger in your home, so you're fine. And you can give help or not give help. Because, no offense, I never asked for it.
He just kind of rolls his eyes again. He's just, you don't ask for help, but
If you pity me, that's also fine. Lots of people seem to.
I don't have room for pity. I've got far better things to do than pity people.
Like, distrust people.
And he gives you a very sharp grin at that and says, exactly that.
Lore smiles and he says the next part in Elvish. He's just like, why do you know Elvish?
Now just blinks and squints at you.
Lore says in Elvish, I know a couple languages.
Val just cocks his head to the side again. It looks like he's trying to pass what you're saying, but he can't quite. Actually, I'm gonna roll an intelligence check.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get to roll those very often. See, he looks like he is trying to pass out what you're saying, and he definitely catches the word elvish. Like you see one of the curls in the back of his head twitches at that, but otherwise he just seems to have a very scrunchy look on his face.
Lore sighs, kind of like, oh, sorry, I thought you. This is back in common. Sorry, I thought you knew Elvish. I was just asking why you did. I haven't met a lot of people over here who do. It's a language my parents taught me. I have a few of them. I know Common, Infernal. Let's see, Common, Infernal, Elvish, and Gnomish. And Lore kind of counts on his fingers and then holds them up. And then is like, yeah, and I mean, I like learning languages, so I'm hoping to learn. I think people call it Grolix. It'd be really helpful to know.
Okay, I won't make you roll insight for this. When you say, my parents taught me, you see Al just kind of tense up quickly, again, before relaxing. And when you start asking about Grulix, he's just reach for his mug again, which is probably stone cold by now, and just take another sip and say, I wouldn't know anything about that. I don't speak Grulix either.
Blair seems a little surprised, like, oh, I thought a lot of tunes. Well, I mean, that's fine. I mean, Blair kind of sighs and looks out the windows, kind of nostalgically, looking at the plants. Why do you... I guess that's too personal to ask. But, one of the reasons, Blair smiles kind of cheekily, that I feel like not necessarily playing with you, but being so honest is... I mean, you make me think of one of them. One of my parents. You have the same, you have the same arrogant demeanor, like you know everything, and skeptical of everybody you meet, despite caring very much for a sweetie like this. And he goes back to Scritch at Soul.
Gosh, okay. You say he reminds you of one of your parents, and you see him tense up even more. His line art just sort of it doesn't thin, it thickens almost. Like his line art kind of looks like a charcoal. His line art is charcoal, so it looks like that. But as soon as you say you remind me of my parents, his line art looks more concentrated. Not in terms of like thickness, but there just seems to be density to it that there wasn't before. Um,
Mhm.
and
Laura
gosh,
just kind of leans forward on a hand and is like, I'm sorry if that makes you uncomfortable. No, again, no offense. I know that doing this could get me kicked out of here, but I honestly rather have a bit of a more fun conversation. And this is quite interesting. So, I
I've
mean,
been
the fact that you're so wary of me makes me smile.
I've been rolling progressive deception rolls, and he's just been getting lower and lower and lower. It's so funny.
The lore effect.
Oh gosh. Um. Also, I'm very sorry. I completely forgot what you just said.
Laura is literally like, apologies, or like, no offense. I know what I'm saying could probably get me kicked out of your place, but it's more fun to have an interesting conversation. I think it's so funny that you're so wary of me, and I, I just don't care because I got nothing. I really don't want to. I just, yeah, I'm just me, and I got nothing intentionally to hide. So I think it's fun having. Laura chuckles fondly. I think it's fun to have this interaction, and I haven't had one like this in quite a while.
Lau Lau looks down at his mug. You see that both of his hands are clenched around the circumference of the mug. He's not holding it by the handle, and he doesn't look at you as he says, "If you're just here to have a bit of fun, then I suggest you finish your tea and leave.
Well,
Appreciate you bringing Still back. I think it's time for you to go."
I can go, but I'm not here just to have fun. I am here because I care. And people seem to get upset when I say this, but you count as a friend, so sorry about that. Um, Lord kind of stands up and drinks his mug. And he's like, I hope you know, while the spell is still going, and I can't lie, I do care about you, despite whatever you want. And, I mean, somebody who cares that much for Soul can't be bad. And Lore sets down his mug after finishing it, and he goes to pick up his backpack.
As you turn around to pick up your backpack, you just hear Lau utter, "How can you claim a complete stranger a friend? How can you claim that you care about someone you've literally just met? People don't work like that."
Well, that's a shame that you've met people who don't, because I do. Um, and so far I've only met people who are good, despite literally all their trauma. Oh my gosh, so many people here just don't want to talk about things. I find that really weird, as I don't see any reason to hide it. I mean, there's some things, don't get me wrong, that need to be kept private, like boundaries are important. But you offered to let me stay in your home, a complete stranger, knowing that I could potentially be dangerous, despite bringing home Soul. I don't care what magic you have, but you also care for Soul. You made Soul, and you talk fondly about children, despite being nervous about them. Um, and I mean, you own a farm. There's just lots of little things that you've said that make me think of home, make me think of family. Laura looks really fondly at the plants, and it's obvious that the plants make him think of home. And he sighs, and he's like, it really sucks that you've met not good people. I hope if we meet again, you can trust that I'm, well, so far, I guess I'm just a little different. And I just don't care to hide things. I find it annoying and messy. And if it's not going to hurt anyone, I don't see what the problem in telling things about myself are. 'cause, I mean, that's just what my life is like, so why not let people know?
Gosh, okay. I rolled another one and I got an nat 20. Now looks you dead in the eye as you stand up, Law.
I'm
And
laughing because Laura's still just looking at the plants.
oh, okay. He's not looking at you then. You don't know where he's looking. And he just says, I am not afraid to let you in because if you tried anything, the house would tear you limb from limb before you could finish a sentence.
Before Lau can finish anything he's saying, Laura leans forward looking excited. He's like, is your house sentient? That's amazing. Did you grow parts of it too? Like soul? Like, kid obviously nerding out.
Lau holds up a hand very sharply and says, shut up, I'm not finished yet.
Oh, my bad, sorry.
As I was saying, I'm not afraid of you because anyone that tries to intrude upon this place will be met with a very particular nasty surprise. There's a reason I don't lock my doors, because only an idiot would try to invade my home.
Guess I'm an idiot.
He just scoffs and doesn't comment on that.
Don't worry,
moves
I'm
on.
well aware.
Secondly, he cocks his head and says, I mentioned Sol was fond of children. I never mentioned I was fond of children, and I don't know where you got idea from, but don't make assumptions about someone you've just met.
Well, I find that, oh, sorry, Laura's just, I'll let you finish.
Okay. And continues on saying, third of all, I don't know what sort of place Ordinal Point was, where it was so okay for you to be free and open with things like emotions and such, but that's not how the real world works. And if you want, you can roll an insight on that.
Yep. Yeah. Laura's just gonna be shrug and be like, well, Ordinal Point is a town of less than 50 people. My family was the first to found it. The curse makes things kind of fuzzy about, besides certain aspects of home. Like I can't remember what country it's in or the location or anything about it, but if I write, I somehow know my address, sort of. Like if I write my, he looks really confused, like he's trying really hard to remember something. And not like it's his own fault, but like you can tell that it's probably the curse. And he's like, if I write it down, it gets to them, but I can't, when I give it to other people, they also can't necessarily tell where it is, but I'm able to get letters at least. But I mean, it's a small town, and also I figured that if Soul likes kids, sorry for the assumption, I just figured that you liked kids, considering you spoke of them so, you smiled a little bit talking about them. Or maybe that was just how you felt about Soul, but I mean, for how grumpy you are, you still offered me, a barely 18-year-old, a place to stay. And man, you are grumpy as hell, aren't you, old man?
But I was going to interrupt you very quickly when you say offered you a place to stay. He just squints and says, I offered you no such thing. I offered you a cup of tea as a thank you for bringing Soul back. Don't presume that I extend that offer as a place for you to stay.
Laura smiles and he's like, well, sorry about that. Thought it was in the subtext. Must have been wrong. And Laura picks up his backpack and puts it on, and he's like, look, Lau. Well, if I'm gonna piss you off, I might as well piss you off all the way, so... Laura shrugs and he's like, do you know who Rabia Blind is?
Oh my god.
Laura's like, well, if I'm burning this bridge, I'll burn it all the way down.
Oh my god. No. One of those again. At the mention of the name Rabia Blind, you're going to see his eyes widen and the grip on his armchair tighten.
Laura's
And
just
he's
laughing like a kid who found like something shiny.
um. I'm not going to make you roll insight for this.
Mm-hmm.
You say that name, and you look at Lao, and there is an almost slightly silvery sheen to his eye as he looks at you, and he's just gonna. I don't know where you heard that name. I think it's time you got the fuck out of my house. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you know you were pissing this guy off. Whatever you said seemed to have really.
I lost you. Where'd you go? Do.
Oh, can you hear
Oh,
me?
now I can. It seemed to really
What
piss him
did you
off.
hear? What did you hear?
It's whatever you said seemed to really, and then you cut out.
Oh, whatever you said seemed to really piss them off. Like this isn't like just ugh, roll my eyes, you annoy me. This is I'm going to commit a fucking violence upon you. Um, this is a violent urge that he is having right now.
Laura sighs. Doesn't necessarily seem intimidated or anything. It's not that he's. It's obvious that he's not underestimating Lao, but more of like he could give less of a shit. Reaches in his backpack and tosses a book onto the table, and he's like, I found this old book with cold cases in it. It had the name Rabia Blind in it. When you said your name was Lao is Blind, I thought there could be a connection. I don't know more than that. There's the book. You can keep it, burn it, whatever you want. I found it in a weird bookshop that just appears, apparently, where I met a fun little robot named Porridge. And didn't know what to do with it. I have a couple detective friends now. I thought about showing the little kid some fun cold cases, but seems like that wouldn't be a good idea. But no offense, I kind of admired what they did. I mean, being shitty to shitty rich people seems admirable, to me at least. So, if you have any connection, don't worry. I am not a harm to you. And Laura goes to exit.
As you keep talking, you just see his outline. But before it was like small barbs that came out before they grew into spikes. This time it's just jagged lines outwards. Like severe spikes up and down. He doesn't look like a bird anymore. He looks like a living spike. Um as he pulls out towards you, take your fucking book and get out of my house. You just assume because of my last name that I'm related to that person, then perhaps you don't understand that last names can be a little more common than you think.
They can be more common, but with a reaction than that, I figured there was one. And don't worry, I'm leaving, but you can keep the book. And Laura exits.
Something.
Hmm?
Gotta make. I gotta do something. Hey, what's Law's AC right now? Is it 15 or
I mean, I could do it with his armor, or I could just do it without his armor.
without his armor? Because he wasn't
Without his
wearing it
armor is a
before.
13.
Cool. Law, something thunks against the
Wait,
back of
really
your
quick,
head.
really quick. Is he casting
Hmm?
a spell?
No, he's throwing the book at your head.
Okay, I can roll to catch it.
You can if you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll athletics.
Let's say perception. Oh, never mind. There's a
Yeah.
12. It donks you on the back of the head. You just hear a call of, take your fucking book and get out of my fucking house! And as he says that, you do see Sol peek their head around the corner as you go to leave.
Laura looks at Soul and is like, seem to upset your, what would you call them, soul? Friend? Just, look after them. I'll see you around. I guess I pissed him off more than I meant to. Actually, no, I definitely meant him to piss him off that much. Lore picks up the book and looks at Soul and looks back to where Wow is and just shouts back, "Well, bye," and leaves.
Before you go, Sol's just gonna lift up their little rudy finger and ding-ling-ling-ling-ling, wave. You close the door.
Yep.
And
Yeah, Lore's just gonna throw the book back in his backpack and really quickly he pulls out his sketchbook and sketches what this place looks like. And makes a note of where Lau's apartment was.
oh god.
And writes down friend.
Oh god. Law, you have no sense in your fucking head, mate.
Lore knows that he pissed this person off, but he's like, well, if I touch a nerve now, we'll be friends later. Working on that.
Oh my god. The power of friendship lives within Law.
Lore is just like, ha. This fucking idiot doesn't know how stupid I am.
I wish I could laugh louder, but everyone's asleep right now. God.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. God, if there was something else you wanted to do, I feel like that sentence is a perfect way to end this FPS.
Yeah. He throws it in his backpack and thinks for a second, smiles, and decides to sleep next to the building.
Oh my fucking god. Oh my fucking god.
He left the house. Look, if this bird tries to attack him, he's pretty sure that breaks some laws. So,
You
yeah.
think, gosh, Katie, I need to talk to you after this, but damn.
Yeah, no, Lore's just like, well, I found something to do.
I mean, if Lau had a nickel for every time he's told someone to never come back or to leave his house, he'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it is strange that it has happened twice. If you want context with the other person, I point at Magic's little Avery, little boy, little creature. Little
Yeah.
boy, sorry, they are they them. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
I believe we can end it there if you want. What do you want to say?
Lore will do. I'll talk to you about this later, but Lore will do a thing. Yeah.
Okay.
I can say it now. It's not that big of a deal.
It's you.
But Lore seems to be able to write a name on a letter, and that letter finds the person. So he writes Lau is blind on a letter, and really quickly writes, "You still count as a friend," period. And sees the mailbox and puts it in. And signs his name.
Oh my gosh. I will say for the apartment building, there wouldn't be like a mailbox. It would be like letter slots.
Oh no, he like puts it in like the like public mailbox, because every time he puts it in there, it somehow ends up with the person.
Oh, okay, cool. Neat. That's gonna be fun for Lau to read. But
It
yeah.
literally has like a smiley face and a thumbs up.
Oh my god. Oh my god, okay. Gosh, I'm gonna have to talk to you later, but damn, this was a really good FPS. Thank
You're
you for playing
welcome.
with me, Katie. We've been
Yeah.
going for 3.5 hours.
I'm loving it. But yeah, we'll wrap up. To anybody who's listening in the future, I can't talk. Have a good time zone, and we may see you later. Bye.
See you later.
Gonna end the recording. Doop.